Good morning and you're welcome to the Key Points. I'm Jifa Bampo. Thank you very much for the privilege of your company today, Saturday, 29th January 2022. It's certainly my pleasure to bring you up to speed about some of the key issues that came up this week. And today on the Key Points, the controversial e-levy, proposedly reduced to 1.5%, will delve into the Akufo-Addo government's e-levy dilemma, which is seeking to expand the tax net and at the same time mobilize revenue for development. Also, the 2021 Corruption Performance Index was released earlier this week, and Ghana's performance hasn't improved over the last 4 years. Why is that? Does that reflect a stagnated approach in the fight against corruption? Or are Ghanaians really just tired and unwilling to really do much about corruption? Or it's really more about political will? The program is live on TV3 and 3FM 92.7. It's also live on 3news.com. And you can also join us via social media. That's our Facebook and Twitter page. Just search for TV3 Ghana and 3FM 92.7. I'm happy to hear from you. And between now and 10 a.m., please send us your WhatsApp to 055-369-8789. Or you can tweet at TV3 Ghana. Also at 3FM 92.7. You can also tweet at me. My handle is Beho Bampo. You can also join in the conversation with the hashtag The Key Points. It's supposed to be an interesting discussion today. Let's just take a quick break and we'll be right back.
I want to be a doctor, an engineer, a nurse.
Andy Grace Academy School is where you meet people from all around the world under a perfect learning environment. Provide kids with opportunity to experience things they have not experienced before. We have perfected an ideal environment for crèche, nursery, and kindergarten. We boast of an excellent primary and junior high school education. Also, environment fitted with beautiful playground, a modern library, competent teaching staff. We provide swimming lessons for the kids. When we say education, we say knowledge, love, faith, joy, and perseverance. Enroll your child now at Andy Grace Academy. We are located at Kumasi Obuasi Road, Santasi. Call on 0243 714 316 or visit our website on www.andygraceacademy.edu.gh. Andy Grace Academy, quality education for everyone.
Sometimes you just know that something ain't going good. You say to yourself, this ain't working for me. There be no shame in that, man.
Like when you don't got it?
Yeah, man, I mean, being smart means knowing when to stop. Know your limit.
So like knowing when to stop? Yeah, makes sense.
If it's not fun, choose to stop.
This advertisement is brought to you by Bet Power.
Season 12 brought you varying art with serious agility. You sang along. Danced.
Okay, I believe the Major Mike that you said the boss.
And cheered.
I love
Talented Kids Season 13 promises to turn up a notch. The stage offers endless opportunities, molding talent and making dreams a reality. We are back again with 16 amazing talents to take you on a ride for this season. Don't miss the grand launch on January 30 and the weekly shows every Sunday. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids Grand Launch this Sunday 3 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it. Talented Kids is powered by Indomie and brought to you by Puma Drinks, Deluxe Acrylic Paint.
It's about to get more sporty with a touch of super entertainment with your favorite stars.
Times we play the Pittingate, the Chaskele, the football.
Who should I take? Sonny Cruz? Why?
While keeping you up to date with every trending issue in your world of sports on Warmer Plus.
But in comes Thomas Tuchel and everything changes. And when he said he wants to be better than me, I was happy.
Let's keep it more sporty and super entertaining every Saturday on Warmer Plus, right here on TV3.
Movies, music, fashion. Our structures and entertainment in general are the things important to us. As an industry, we are inundated with happenings of the entertainment industry every single day. And so every week, we discuss the growth and question where we fall short. We call out whom is responsible and put them to check, leaving no stone unturned.
You don't need to break the budget, but you can do a really good job by doing different kinds of video, adding to the music.
Don't just look at it and assume they went to the beach and they shot it, or it was a green screen and this was what happened. No.
We should focus on what is new and how we're moving forward. People will be educated as in how the system works. If you are not played on radio, forget about royalties, number one.
We promote and applaud well-deserved ones on Simply Showbiz. Join us every Saturday with our experienced pundits on Simply Showbiz at 11 a.m. only on TV3.
He said he likes ladies who are psychosexual, who say they. Sure.
Yeah, they like guys when they talk them a mind.
You understand?
Where them be shatters, not innocent.
What me I support you? Now which
Exactly.
one is you are over demanding?
No, over demanding is different from support.
Okay.
And the second call, I asked him, say, "What about picking me?" And I say, "Your father get car." He insulted me. Wow. It's true. I'm sorry.
All right.
I really like him, but the way this girl was looking at him, maybe after choosing me, he'll turn back and
We can dance. And I think. Okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
Seriously, you broke my heart. Oh.
Date Rush shows every Sunday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Date Rush is brought to you by Rush Energy Drink,
Airtel Tigo. Life is simple. Geisha. Close Up. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil. Enapa Foods. Gino Max. Fun Ice. Deluxe Acrylic Paint. HD Plus Darling Lemon. Freedom. Papa's Pizza. Camel, now from Carex. Touch Concentrated Perfume. Duffy's Ohima Feminine Mixture.
Thanks very much for joining us on the Key Points. Now, the controversial e-levy dominated the news this week. It started off with an engagement in Kumasi in the Ashanti region by the opposition NDC, where they restated their zero e-levy position. Let's hear John Jinapor, who is a former Deputy Minister for Energy, speaking about that.
Maintain that, but the majority side has failed to engage.
Yes, they haven't engaged us. You can ask them, who have they engaged? Have they engaged the leader? Have they engaged the chief whip? Have they engaged the party? You cannot build consensus alone. You build consensus with people. I can confirm that the majority side has not engaged members of the minority.
Now let's talk about your presentation today. You made reference to happenings in countries like Kenya, Uganda, and you were even emphatic on their threshold. Are you trying to say that should the threshold be revealed, the minority perhaps will consider?
That is not even what I'm saying. I'm saying that they should engage further. We have a lot of suggestions for them. In terms of the timing, we are just coming out of COVID. I just gave those examples to show how harsh the 1.75 is. But like we said, we are opposed to the e-levy and we'll vote against it.
Now my final question has to do with, of course, still on the e-levy. NDC is against e-levy, I mean entirely. But data That transaction in 2016 was $20 billion. In 2017, $36 billion. 2018, $48 billion. And in 2020, around $100 billion. Isn't it fair for governments, get a share of that?
They're already getting something out of it. The telcos charge about 2%, is that not it? Part of that money goes to government. And so the more the transaction, the more the telcos get. And the more the telcos get, the more they pay to government. So if government says they are not getting anything out of it, it's not true. Government is getting something from Momo through the telcos.
And that's John Jinapor, the former Deputy Minister of Energy. He addressed that engagement in the Ashanti region on behalf of the NDC, but certainly not to be outdone in controlling the narrative. The government team also mobilized and headed to the Eastern region to put forward a robust argument for the e-levy. And so the battle for the hearts and minds to support the e-levy's implementation remains ongoing.
Kufuor introduced the communication service tax. That tax was introduced at the rate of 6%, which was later increased to 9%. E-levy is being introduced at the lowest rate for any tax in Ghana, comparatively at 1.75%, less than 2%. When the CST was introduced, it faced similar opposition as we are seeing currently. And the current speaker dubbed it as talk tax. As the NDC and the industry, led by the GSMA data, claimed it would damage the growth of the telecommunications industry as consumers would change their mobile communication habits. This does not happen. They were unfounded fears. Several years on, we realized that those dangers were unfounded. It never happened. The industry has grown exponentially since 2008, and all of us find telecommunications and digital infrastructure applications and services as indispensable to everything that we seek to do. The same speculations and complaints are being made about the e-levy, that consumers will stop using electronic transactions because of the imposition of this levy. I dare say that based on our experience with the communication service tax and lessons from other African countries, we're confident that the e-levy will not bring about any negative changes in consumer behavior, as electronic transactions afford us the convenience, the safety, the security that we currently enjoy.
And that's the Communications and Digitalization Minister, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo. She also had advice for the opposition NDC, which has really been a thorn in the side of the government in trying to push through this e-levy.
Communication service tax. They never repealed it when they were in power. They didn't even reduce the rate of the levy. They also complained about and rejected the National Health Insurance Scheme when it was introduced in Parliament and actually walked out. They complained about the capitation grant and sought to rubbish it. They had issues with free SHS and even asked for a boycott of the national ID and ridiculed our oil discovery as well, claiming that it was Adringo and not crude oil. They always oppose every initiative that will ultimately benefit the Ghanaian people. But our collective experience shows, and they themselves admit, that despite their initial opposition to many of these interventions, they've proven to be worth their weight in gold. I dare say, and I appeal to them to cooperate with government and work with us to pass this levy as well, because ultimately the results that we got from the communication service tax, which clearly did not destroy the industry, will also be evident post-implementation.
And that's Ursula Wusu-Ekufo, the Communications and Digitalization Minister. So there have been more engagements since that forum in the Eastern region, particularly with the minority, which has remained entrenched in its position that it will not support the e-levy. Well, the Finance Minister had a meeting with the leadership of Parliament to further agree a path to how the e-levy can be implemented and at what threshold. Well, we understand that the Finance Minister has proposed another reduction of 0.25 to bring the government's number to 1.5%. We don't know if that has been accepted or agreed yet, but if it is agreed, it will then add on to the 0.75% from the telcos when the levy kicks in. But the truth of the matter is that the bill could not be put before the House yesterday. Let's hear Osei Mensah Bonsu.
The e-levy bill will be considered next week, but there have been some consultations which began yesterday. Speaker, the consultations are by concluding. If they conclude positively, then perhaps we can consider the e-levy today. If they don't conclude positively, then they go to next week as scheduled.
All right, so that's Osei Mensah Bonsu, who is the majority leader in Parliament. But certainly we'll be delving a bit more into it because it doesn't look like this battle is over yet. Our guest this morning, Dr. Stephen Amoah, who is the MP for Nhyira. So he's also a member of the Finance Committee in Parliament. Dr. Amoah, thank you for coming. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure having me on your prestigious platform.
Sir. And we'll be joined also by Kweku George Ricketts Hagan, who is a former Deputy Finance Minister and MP for Cape Coast. So we'll start off with Dr. Amoah, who joins us in the studio. So first, Dr. Amoah, tell us what is happening in reference to the e-levy bill in Parliament. We understand that the bill could not come back to the House yesterday as expected. The Speaker of the House, the Right Honourable Alban Bagbin, indicated that he'd been waiting for you MPs throughout and you all refused to come. So he left. Tell us, where are we on that?
Thank you very much. My regards to our viewers this morning. But please, before then, give me 1 minute to do something. There's this trend in Ghana that all of us must be very sensitive to it or about it. And this is, I don't know how to go about it, because now even when you speak, somebody will take just one word, do a story with it, and others are insulting and painting you in a different. There's this trend in Ghana that if you are interviewed or you do a presentation, then you realize that the news that will come to the public domain, somebody picks just an extract and does a whole news about it, put it on platforms. First, maybe a website. Second, you see all platforms. Then people who read just pick that thing, that face value thing, attack you, insult you. It's not about the individual. So see what happened in Egypt. Let's all be careful about this in this country. Whether against NDC, MPP, or an individual, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa or His Excellency former president, whatever it is, maybe people don't see what I'm talking about. But gradually, a generation is being deceived. Reportage, they just cut, and that's all.
But that's why this is a live program. It's on Facebook, it's on Twitter.
My dear, what I'm talking about is not just only this or TV3. It's something that as a nation we should look at.
You're concerned about how people's words or the narrative they put out is manipulated.
And then, because of various platforms, before you realize,
it's gone viral
everywhere, and the people are being deceived. But any society that goes this way, one day you may see uprising not out of necessity, and it will be limitless. It will not be limited to NDC MPP or whatever. So me, it's just my advice that all of you and all of us should look at this critically because it's very risky. Then coming back to what you said, I came to Parliament and most of my colleagues were in Parliament. I wouldn't say all because I wouldn't be very sure of who is not in all. But you see those normally I flirt with, I saw them around. And most of the NDC MPs, because we are friends, despite the fact that sometimes the interface depicts some hostile and antagonism. We are friends. we talk, play, sometimes we eat together. We do a whole lot of things. I saw most of them. Probably I may not be privy to certain pieces of information because, of course, in any organization, there's this thing called asymmetric information where you are all probably stakeholders. However, some stakeholders are privy to certain pieces of information, others may not have. But what I know is that we all came. The processes leading to presenting the bill or putting it up for subsequent proceedings or whatever it is, I don't know what actually went wrong or went right. This is all that I can say. But my concern is not whether it was passed, it was not passed, it was put up, it was not put up. My concern is we should all be given the needed opportunity to discuss this e-levy very well. Why do we need it? In terms of timeliness, in terms of correctness, in terms of its pros and cons. What will be the consequences if we pass? What will be the consequences if we don't pass? We need to discuss these things very well. Take NDC MPP out of it. Let experts who are speaking should be honest and stick to their professional ethics and professionalism and do this nation a great deal of good service. Not to speak because you are for the government, even if it's not good. Oh, we need it, is that. Or because you are not for the government, you want to rubbish it and deceive other people out of intellectual dishonesty. Let us make sure that as a country, I have no problem with my opposition friends. Do you know why? Probably MPP would have done the same thing. But as a country, do we have to continue the cycle? And those in between, the media, and then the experts, the professors and doctors in financial economics and other places, should be honest enough, present a picture of this economy. Tell us the truth why we got there.
But you were at the parliamentary retreat in Ho. You had experts. You had tax experts. You had experts from the Institute of Statistical Economic Research. You had experts from the university's economics department. And I think one narrative seemed to run through that it's quite a regressive tax. It's not a tax that would, stand the government in good stead. I think that point was made, and the finance minister was there. So I think if there's no other place that experts and professionals have been honest with you, they were at least honest with you at that retreat.
No, maybe I get your point, but you're not getting what I'm saying. I don't think one narrative ran through. We have diverse opinions. Who is speaking louder and whatever it is might be different. Normally, nobody wants to pay tax, whether in developed economies or in a developing economy. So whoever, let me give you this scenario. You and your husband, you are taking care of your baby. Your baby's condition is such that if you don't give particular prescribed medicine, maybe the baby will die. And the medicine is quite bitter. Already, the baby probably is suffering from extreme malaria. And that he's gotten bitterness in the throat already. If the mother is saying that, oh, darling, don't let us give this, the baby will, and the father is saying that we need it because of the future and the recovery or the good health of the baby definitely will think it's the mother that's doing him or her good. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm advising the experts, my problem is with them, that they should be honest professionally with the issue. Because my mother at home, illiterate mother, will probably listen to radio and what other people are saying. She doesn't know anything. The fact of the matter is that doing comprehensive analysis of our economic situation, which any honest person cannot, remarkably blame this present government, will know that We need this tax, and we need it to ensure that this country is rather put on the right footing. It's extremely important. It's very, very important. We can do politics with it because somebody did politics when other government was there. We can do whatever we want to do. But, my sister, we need it. It's not the halabaloo and the political jargons and talks. Everybody says he doesn't want it. What did he use the previous money for? All these things, to me, they are just meant for political gains. But the fact of the matter is that considering our fiscal space at present as a country, as a result of about 22 months, this health issue that has really destroyed the entire world's economy, considering the fact that government was paying public and civil service workers for so many months that they were not working, even as of now, at present, there are still some workers, public service and civil service workers, who are not working, but they are being paid. We should look at this fact. The fact that our productivity as a country has been impaired for so many months, and as a result, your GDP can never grow. No professor can change it. And this is something which is true. We should be careful and look at present. Health sector, educational sector, and other places, they are all pressing for new concessions. They want increment in that, they want introduction of that, they want this. We should look at these things critically. We can do all the politics in the world, but let us be careful that we don't make arbitrary decisions because of power and hate speech and probably, I would say, unconscious incompetence and destroy this country.
But Dr. Amoah, I don't think the analogy about people not wanting to pay tax is right. People will be willing to pay if they can see what they are getting out of the payments. We've lost 12 billion, or we leaked 12 billion, according to the Auditor General's report. We know that there's some significant public sector corruption. Those leakages have not been plugged, and yet you are on a hunt for 7 billion cedis, knowing fully well that if you plugged leakages, you could actually get that money and others. We are spending on multiple contracting. Ministries are going beyond their contractual requirements. And so for this reason, that is why people are opposed to the E-levy. It may not be just because they don't want to pay. They are asking, we've paid so much over whatever period and we don't even see what is being used for. We have cocoa money, we have timber money, we have oil money, yet we haven't seen that development. You say that 7 billion is going to solve our problems.
Nobody has said that 7 billion will solve our problems. Other people make statements and let it appear like we are seeing it because of propaganda. But your statement is extremely important. That is the face that as a country, stakeholders, we need to take serious what you are saying. Because to me, it's the most important phase of all this whole cycle that all of us, because it's very important how we use our money. And this issue you are raising is not today. Go and check all the test reports. It doesn't mean we should accept it. I agree with you 100%. The fact that we have problems in terms of corruption. Corruption is not only MPP and DC. Corruption in the media, corruption among the police, corruption even among some chiefs, corruption. When I say media, it doesn't mean everybody. When I say MPP and DC, it doesn't mean everybody. Corruption has been a national issue that we need to address. Whilst we are trying to address and raising issues which I think is very authentic, like you're saying, does not necessarily mean that we should let the country collapse. We shouldn't work on taxes. People should look at this whole issue in general state. We have cocoa, we have this, we have that. Fine. Have we also sat down to juxtapose that with the obligations we have as a country? This is where most experts don't do as any service as a country. Because yes, we have all these things. We should be honest enough to look at, analyze what comes out of each of these, I would say, revenue generation centers, and then against the obligations in the area of health, in the area of infrastructure, in the area of social needs. I mean, our tax payment, our debt servicing or interest payments, other areas that are inevitable that we need to do. When we do all these things, then you can say that, oh, We are generating enough for this, but why are you doing that?
Okay, I'll put you on pause there for now. Let me bring in the Honourable Ricketts Hagan, and thank you for making some time to join us this morning. So yeah, I like the show of greetings between the two of you. So I'm sure you've been listening to Dr. Amoah, but first tell us, is the minority considering the Finance Minister's proposal to reduce the e-levy by 0.25% to 1.5%?
Good morning, Chifa, and good morning to your viewers, and good morning to my good brother, Doc. And glad to see you this morning.
Glad to see you.
Looking well after obviously yesterday. Chifa, I think the issue of the e-levy is one that we need to pay more attention to. When I say more attention to, in terms of further consultation and further research, into it. Tax policy is not an event; it's a process that requires some consultation, which we believe did not take place, or if it did, it was not exhaustive enough. You do hear, and you hit it right on the nail, and you do hear nobody wants to pay tax. I mean, I have been a finance person, an economist for many years. I have served, had the privilege to serve at the Ministry of Finance, so I feel sorry for them. I know what they are going through. Things are tough. The idea that nobody wants to pay tax is not exactly true. It's not true because if people will be willing to pay tax if they know exactly what their tax money is being used for. I did some tests in my constituency where I asked people whether they are for the e-levy or not. And then when they say they are not for the e-levy, my first question to them is that you don't think you should pay your fair share of tax? He said, oh yes. I mean, obviously, how would the government get money to build schools, roads, and all that? But my problem, and that's the people I ask, my problem is when I don't know what the tax I'm paying is being used for, or when I see things where basically money is being wasted, there's a lot of corruption in the system, there's some kind of a luxurious living by people in government, it becomes problematic for people to want to part with money that they believe will go to no good use. So the issue about the e-levy with the public, take minority out and let's look at what is happening in the public space. The issue with the public is one of a moral issue. Moral issue in a sense that people are thinking about the tax that they are paying and the usage of the tax revenue, because the tax they pay then becomes the revenue that the government uses. And it is not about whether government needs more tax or government doesn't need it, or people don't want to pay MOMO or any of that levy. It is purely on the basis that people don't see that their money is being used in the way that they think it should be. People are not getting the services that they think they are paying for. They are not getting the good roads to drive on. Not a single hospital has been built by this government since, if they have, it's basically a hospital that somebody started and they've come to complete it. Not a single school that I know of, but yet the SHS is being implemented on existing schools with all the challenges that it has at the moment, without any additional school being added to it or adequate number of schools being added to it. So that is where the problem is. Now let's come to the economics of it. So this is like the social, the economics of it is this. This is a government trying to promote a digital economy, okay, and that payments and other things are being done in an electronic manner or digital, payment. This same government is introducing a tax that will reverse all these gains in terms of a digital economy, in terms of financial inclusion, and all the things that comes with cashless society and all the things that this government is trying to come up with. Also, a good chunk, but 50% of our people actually don't have a bank account. The new way of banking is through this e-wallet where people are now banking. Now, banking their money also means they're saving money on the wallet. And basic economics tells you that savings is what you invest in your economy. That is domestic savings before you go for anybody else's money. And you don't impose a tax. That tax savings, because if you are taxing savings, then you are actually taxing the investment that you are going to make in that country. And that is one of the reasons why this tax becomes, a regressive tax, but not a progressive one. The 1.75 itself is also problematic for us. And our position at the moment is that we don't think that the e-levy is actually needed. And further down, I will explain to you from an economics and finance standpoint, or somebody who's been at the Ministry of Finance, why they don't actually need this money at this stage.
So are you saying that the minority's position is still a zero e-levy?
Absolutely.
So even after the meeting with the finance minister, the proposal to reduce by 0.25%?
Well, that's also another story. I mean, we had I was fortunate enough to be part of, the core leadership meeting with the finance minister when he met us. On the first day, which is the day before yesterday, he didn't actually come with nothing. He came to obviously preach to us why he needs the e-levy. And then he said, we don't know why you are here, whether you are here to negotiate or to lecture us, because you haven't presented anything. So please go, and if you have something to present, you come back. Obviously, if he had something up his sleeves at the time, you would have probably come up with it. But he didn't. They went and came yesterday. That also affected sitting, in the house yesterday. And came with this idea that he is now prepared to shift 1.5. And we said, look, I personally, as I said, I feel very sorry for them. But I still think that even shifting that, it's not a sign of really want to do something. Because I know where they can get the money. And later on we'll talk about that.
Okay, now...
So our position is basically 0.0% e-levy.
Okay, just before I come to Dr. Amoah, because he's been taking copious notes, and I don't mean this to sound like an attack on businesses, so I hope no one interprets that as such, but for quite a while, users of the digital financial platforms had complained about 1% charges and other charges on them. Nobody cared to address that. It seemed convenient for government because obviously out of that amount, the government gets its share or its due. But to the extent that I know that people had been unhappy with the 1%, why didn't, leadership in government, parliament address that? Because now it's not just about whether it's 1.5%, it's 2.5% that we will all have to pay on any transaction going forward, if it's passed.
Yes, well, and don't forget, this is actually a transaction fee. It's a charge actually on the transaction. Now, things have changed. I mean, one of the reasons why I feel that we shouldn't have the e-levy, particularly this year, is that we have just come out of, we're not even completely out of the pandemic yet, but we can say that we can live with it better now. Economists are trying to get out of, the difficulties that they had. People are trying to get up to basically speed with their businesses and all that again. The last thing you want to do is to slap taxes on them when people are trying to dig themselves out of a hole. It becomes problematic. Sometimes, even if you have a tax that you think that tax should come, and I can see some justification, in that when you look at the way the economy itself is shifting. But then you ask yourself, is it a tax that you need to do further consultation on, or is it a tax that you should implement because it's easy to do so? At the moment, I think the government is taking the easy option of thinking that e-commerce has gone up by such a percentage, digital payment has gone out, economy has shifted from traditional economy to digital economy, so revenues in the traditional sense are, drying up. Therefore, let's chase where the money is going and just go and tax people. That's basically what they are doing, without any scientific basis other than that the government needs money. But they are not looking at how much money they are wasting. If you want to do fiscal consolidation, you want to basically do things that will enhance or generate revenue. But you also want to do things that will rationalize your expenditure. If you don't have the money, you don't spend it. You don't go looking for more money. And then if you say that you have what we haven't been good at, and it's not only this particular government, that in the last 10 years, and in the last 10 years, you were looking at maybe 2012 to date, we have not been very good at expanding or broadening the tax base, broadening, we have done
we've done quick fixes.
We've done quick fixes. And what they are trying to do now is one of the quick fixes.
Okay.
And let me just finish on this point. If you are in the formal sector, you are probably being taxed enough. What we are trying to reach is to reach the informal sector. Sometimes indirect tax, as you may look at it and think indirect tax reaches everyone, but you also forget that that indirect tax also reaches the person who is overburdened with tax already. Because if you are paying your taxes, government is reaching you, you are paying your taxes. If government is not reaching you, you are not. If you bring a universal or indirect tax, it affects everyone. So the person who's already paying is now paying more. And you've got to look at how carefully you craft that particular tax, and not just say that, oh, this tax will bring in the informal sector, so let's do it. It's a lazy way of taxing, basically.
Dr. Amu, I won't ask you any question. I think you already have responses. So you go ahead and then I'll come in later.
Jifa.
But please address the numbers for me.
Numbers are real. There is the school that he said we've not built any school. I think this is what I was saying. That in making the attempt to let us have competitive edge within the polka industry, let's also be very careful the way we mislead and induce arbitrariness in general decision making as a country. How can you say this?
Have you built schools?
Madam, I have these figures here because we did not say we're coming to discuss.
I get you, but he has mentioned.
I'm saying that this free SHS has added about 1.2 million people. We have built 2,729 classrooms that can accommodate 109,160 people. 3 classrooms, we done 69. 6 classrooms, we done 894. 8 classrooms, we done 8. 12 classrooms, we done 1,644, sorry. 18 classrooms, we done 90. 24 classrooms, we done 1. And this one, it's even ongoing. I will try and send you the places and what we've done. This is what I'm talking about. In any case, everybody knows that no government can be in power for 5 years and the person hasn't built any school. Let us not go in there. Jifa, what I want us to understand is that my senior brother said something, which in maths, I would say that taxation is more of calibration model. What it means is that as and when is needed, you introduce taxes, you reduce taxes or increase taxes. Between 2014 and 2016, the NDC government, go and check their budget, either introduced or imposed together 26 tax components. In Parliament, we list all of them when they had listed 11. 26, go and check their budget. 2017, the same government today that they are claiming that we don't care about Ghanaians when it comes to taxes. We either reduced or take away entirely about 16 tax components. That's why we did the financial services tax that they introduced, which is also electronic. You can say the mode and the whatever it is could be different, but it was electronic tax. That's why Kaya tax, even condom tax, drugs imported into Ghana but not produced, real estate taxes. You remember, we did all. Later on, we added about 5, 6, and they were complaining. And now what is happening? So even if you are talking about net increase and net decrease, in terms of taxes we have increased or introduced, we have even a net, and in terms of consideration, we still have done even positive for Ghanaians. That's what I'm saying. But I don't want to go into...
Okay, but I just want to ask you on the schools, the data you gave us. You said you built all these classroom blocks. It doesn't amount to schools. It's added on to current infrastructure. I know the Ministry of Education is building 10 V blocks. I know that you've cut sword for some 35 STEM schools and 5 universities. But the truth is, none of these things are concretely on the ground. I know Agenda 111 is part of the plan. And it is even because at the end of the first term, there was a lot of criticism that the government had not provided health infrastructure and were relying on previous infrastructure. That too, we are yet to see. In fact, the 1 year is coming for us to check.
Please go onto the ground. It's not about propaganda. You think it is so prudent that you come into power, first term, you see the probable state of schools, you are increasing enrollment.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
Can I also have the opportunity to speak?
I'm not saying that. No, I'm just...
to say go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Jifa, any wise decision-making processes will involve the fact that the existing schools, you build new structures to accommodate the increase or increment. You don't leave that one and go to one village. See some of the E blocks. I travel a lot. The one that under former President Mahamadou started, is it the day school they wanted to build? Some of the places, go to, I forgot, is it New Adubiasi area and other places where the schools were sited. It will take 30 years to fill the schools. They are far away from even the villages they are talking about. Meanwhile, you go to those villages, the schools there, the kids are on the trees. Is that the best decision? Is that what we want to do? The same Ghanaian will complain that, oh, continue what has been left. You, the same Ghanaian, when we complete these hospitals you are talking about, Kufuor started most of them. I can bring you figures in terms of monies they raised or whatever they signed. They left some of them 8 years. And the Kufuor's government came, tried to complete some and even also start some. We don't do this propaganda thing that they want to always make sure that people go to. What we are discussing today is that in terms of even the usage of our taxes, NDC, they are social democrat. Any developing economy, you cannot take away pro-poor policy. We are capitalistic. We adopt expansionary fiscal policy. They are supposed to do pro-poor policies. Tell me any of the pro-poor policies in Ghana, social intervention policies in Ghana, of national character and tenacity and international reputation, that they could even implement. Because those things, you need prudent management of your economy internally to execute them. It's not like I want to do project, NDC want to do this project, they get funds, they get loans. I'm not talking about that. But why we need this tax is that today people should listen if I'm lying. We have gone through impaired productivity, which is not our fault, unless you want to do politics with it. Because before a happy, we're growing averagely 6.97% a year till this thing happened.
I thought it was 5%.
No, 6.9. Go and check. Even if it's 5%, it's better than we inherited. We inherited 3.2 or 3.4. Even if it is 5%. We're having interest rate over 30%. Go and check all the banks. Some were getting to 37. Now interest rate, you can get some 21, 22. Look at all the economy, even now. Then we started having debt to GDP going up because GDP was not growing. If you don't go to the shop, if shops had closed down, if restaurants had closed down, if they reduced the numbers for months, your GDP will not grow. No professor can change this narrative. It's a fact. And you are also supposed to spend. You couldn't stick to the other option of financing, which is, of course, revenue, because you have revenue shortfalls. 2020, we had it. And once you have revenue shortfalls, you will be forced to leverage debt financing, which is borrowing, because you had obligations. But because GDP was not growing, the numerator will go up, and you get debt to GDP growing up. This one, you can, I'm not saying that you can't have other margins of issues to add to as causes, but this is the remarkable cause, and it is a fact. If we have financial manager in heaven, you will attest to this fact. Then the same opposition and express said, no, we are borrowing our debt as a percentage of GDP is becoming alarming, which is a fact. So as a country, we should be careful the way we are borrowing, not to destroy this country. Then we say, okay, let's look at other areas. My brother said something. Widen the tax net. They are saying the informal sector, they are not even being involved. Let's even assume that what we are doing now is not the best option. It is an attempt to listen to the very propositions other experts gave that, oh, widen the tax net.
Okay, so
you understand what I'm saying?
So let me ask you. It seems that with the proposal of having e-levy as part of tax policy, what it seems is that the more you use an instant money, mobile money payment platform or any financial transaction platform that is instant, the less your disposable income. The last time I put it to you, the last time I put it to you that I sent 1,000 CDs to Akosia. Akosia is going to use 500 to pay fees. Akosia is going to send another 300 to her mother. Akosia is going to send 200. You see, I know you disagreed with me, but the truth of the matter is that is what it is.
Let me ask you. Let's all be honest with ourselves.
Yes, that's what it is.
How many people who need money for school fees, for feeding, how many of them do you want to tell me that if you send money to 100, there are issues that always outliers in any situation, but you cannot say that it is a general practice that if I send money to somebody who needs food, hospital bills, school fees, the person will do onward lending, and that will be taxed.
Not onward lending, but maybe they are maybe they are paying their school fees by mobile money. That same money is taxed.
How many people have conducted research on what you are saying? That if I send money, can I finish, please?
No, go ahead.
You don't debate me.
Oh no, go ahead.
I listen to you. Then allow me to respond.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. What I'm saying is that this scenario is propaganda. It's propaganda. How many people in Ghana here that they are in need of money? You send money to them. They also send to other people. They send to other people. These are all issues that somebody just want to find a way of rubbishing this policy. And all tax policies put some sort of reduction tendencies on our disposable income. That's a fact. All taxes. We do that because you take the money, do proper policies with it, and make sure that you maximize utility and satisfaction for the entire community. Nobody pays tax. Not everybody that pays tax. That's the essence of government. That you take taxes, you put policies in place so that even a poor child from somebody from a very poor home can have access to education, can have access to some sort of good health, can also use the same road with the rich people. This is the essence of taxes. But what we are saying is that for today, our fiscal space is congested. Government was paying thousands of workers in this country and still paying some of them that they were not working. This is a fact. This is a fact. So what do we do today? Our brothers are saying that, oh, if we pass it, we will be unpopular, and that what will happen is that we will lose 2024. So you think now NDC brothers, they want MPP to continue. Why are they? Because they know that if we're able to generate this amount that we are talking about, they know MPP government will do a lot of good works for this country, and people will vote for us. If they think what I'm saying is not true, they should allow us to pass the bill, and then we lose power, because by 2024 Ghanaians will know whether we use it well or it was meant for their own good. The only phase I agree with you and my brother is how we use our monies.
Okay, we'll come back to how we use. No, I don't want you to go ahead. So I want to put it to you, Dr. Amoah. Okay, I'll use a different scenario. You are saying that people don't on land and all that. So I have 1,000 cedis. I pay my nanny with that money. I send the money to her. And then once it's above the 100 cedis threshold, it's taxed. Then I pay my home teachers. Once I pay the home teachers, maybe there are 3 of them.
You pay them with what?
Through mobile money.
Why if your home teacher come to your house to teach them? We've all had home teachers. Why do you say that? Because now we are taxing mobile money. Somebody will go and send money to the home teacher.
No, I'm sending. It's me.
No,
it's me alone.
It's not only you.
I'm saying that I'm using my account.
What you're saying is not a general trend.
No, I'm asking.
Let me tell you, nobody on this earth, that teacher that comes to my house to come and teach my kids, even without this tax, if I'm going to pay money and it's momo, definitely they will deduct 1 cedi, and the person will say that respectfully, this is what I want to do. I won't pay my teacher at home so that I will save 1 cedi per whatever 10 cedis or 100. I'll go and so that they deduct my money. Who will do this?
No, so I'm
saying what you are saying.
No, so what I'm trying to say is that I'm a busy woman. I'm making all these payments.
Your teacher doesn't come home. He comes to the house. You can't put the money envelope that when teacher comes.
So I should go to cash economy.
I'm not going to. No, what's wrong with going to cash economy? You're going to what? What's wrong? Why are we finding scenarios to rubbish this?
But that's what some of us do.
Let me ask you. Nobody who respectfully wants to make objective decision, not out of arbitrariness. I want to just frame stories. We say that maybe I'm to pay my teacher 1,000 cedis. The teacher comes home every day to come and teach my kids. I prefer paying where I'll pay more than the 1,000. What kind of decision is that? Everybody spends to save money so that if my teacher comes, me, Akiola, they were teaching me, if you heard that name, they were teaching me at home, even me as a illiterate child. I had a lot of teachers in Ghana here, they were coming home to teach me. So when they come home and teach me, my parents were so busy, they can't leave the money for them at home. They should go so that I take to where I'll spend more. Who will do this?
Okay, I'm glad you said this.
Who will do this?
Because you see,
you do
but let me because in an era of COVID, we don't want to be interacting. We don't want to be used. So you put, so if you know, that you are spending. No, I'm just giving that. No, so if you know that you are spending 5,000 a month, you put
points aside.
No, I'm just Dr. Abua, I put 5,000 on my wallet and I'm using it to make all these payments. I go to a restaurant, I pay. I go to buy fuel, I pay. I'm the only one. This one I'm not sending to any person to send to anyone. By the time I spend that 5,000 cedis and 1.75 plus 1% is added, how much would I have paid over that 5,000? That is what people are complaining about.
They're even talking about VAT and other things. Talking about withholding tax and other things. You do separate exercises and you pay tax on them. Then everybody should pay just one tax component in this world. Just one. Because companies pay withholding tax, they pay payee, they do all those, they pay also corporate tax. So what are we talking about?
So
we don't share this all over the world.
So government can also get its fair share from these financial transactions from the institutions that are charging these service fees. What about that?
Let me make this clear to you. Ghana here, we are already running negative effective tax rate. Whether COVID or no COVID, whether in this UMPP. 1, 2, even when this COVID came, private sector, over 40,000 people were made redundant. So payee per one, government lost them. Companies' corporate taxes have been reduced so drastically because they were not working. We are running our revenue generation as a percentage of our GDP. It's somewhere around 11-12 against even the poor countries whose benchmarks are around 18 and 20. Check. Against the developed economies, over 30%. This country is kaput, not the COVID or whatever. If we don't do proper things in our country, the country will continue to suffer and destroy. We won't go there. Okay. If we are doing the right thing and people think they will do politics and other things and misdirect what the government wants to do, fine. They should wait 2024. But what I'm trying to say is that the NDC guys, what they are doing, they know this thing is good. But they are doing politics. Some people would have done same. Let's be honest. I don't want to say that we are angels. If somebody wants to come to power, but at the end of the day.
But I doubt that, Dr. Amwa, because the NDC has supported you previously on other issues.
Supported which issues?
They've supported the can passed appropriation and all that. So if it were really about politics, they won't support you.
So
anyway,
this is not politics.
Anyway,
can I also ask one question? So you've not heard that the NDC is one of their key positions is that when you vote this, when we pass this bill or tax levy, we are going to be unpopular and lose 2024. You've never heard that. Let's be honest with yourself. You don't hear this.
Yes.
So NDC, yes. So NDC, the one has to win 2024.
Okay, I'll let Ricketts Hagan, Honorable Ricketts Hagan come in now. But let me read lots of your messages which have come through. This one from Farouk in Tamale says, good morning. We don't want the e-levy today or tomorrow. The finance minister needs to give us a break. Shadrach says, why is the e-levy so much of a concern to the government? As if that's the only means of generating income. The voice of Ghanaians, whom they represent in parliament, is loud enough to convey our displeasure about this e-levy. Fight the economic inequality in Ghana, and there will be enough money for Ghana without e-levy. Musa Abatwa writes to us from Kumasi. He says, Jifa, I know that Dr. Amwa, I know Dr. Amwa for many years, and he is one of the persons who has decried. Okay, I think this message is not very clear. But what I think he's just trying to say is Ghanaians were suffering this today, and so justifying why government should continue to suffer, whether we like it or not, they will pass the e-levy. Indeed, power can change people. Yes, you want to change?
No, for this issue, just I beg you, boss. You know why he's saying that?
Okay.
There is this video going around. They just cut here, cut there, join, and they are circulating all over Ghana. I am telling you, it's fake. They did that because they think there is no God. Why do you pick? No, I'm being very serious. Why do you pick?
Did you not say that you are in government? You will pass the e-levy.
TV3 people came and interviewed me.
I also interviewed you on radio.
No, I'm coming. What happened?
Yes.
What happened?
Yes, so I
will pay, but Ghanaians can't do anything.
No, you said that we are in government. We will pass this. The NDC can't do anything about it because you are in government. They should allow you to pass it. If it will make you lose elections, then they should allow it to go through.
What has the NDC been saying? The NDC, they've been, I'm saying all of them, but they've been threatening us.
Read the NPP.
Can you also
I'm just asking.
Why are you taking one position?
No, sir, I'm not taking
you are. TV3 came and interviewed me in my office. You can call George. Then he asked me that the minority people are saying that there's no way they will allow you to pass this bill. They will not. Even my own brother, Honorable Muntaka, on Joy, go and ask. Even to the extent that he was insinuating that the exchange of blows will occur again. If we do, go and listen. Then I said that we will pass the bill. They can't do anything to us. And they are claiming if we pass the bill, we'll be unpopular and lose. So they should allow us to pass. But this thing, what crime have I committed?
No, you've not committed any crime.
So why is it that the entire country, they went and brought a time that people were chastising Anadu and NPP government. And I was interviewed by Adom TV. And I said that all the good works that we've done, we should appreciate and stop using propaganda. It won't argue well for this country. And the way Ghana is going now, the COVID had not started.
Okay, I think you've made that point.
Then they went and cut places, changed the story. What are you? Yeah. And they brought this and they are circulating it.
Okay.
You see?
So some people have doctored the video.
No, you see one thing about the media. When George came and he should have included the question he asked me. The leading question he asked me. Because if the NDC guys are putting up a posture like they will threaten us with words and stuff like that, then we will say that we also cannot be controlled by cowardice. Okay. We will pass it.
Okay. And I think you've made that point, but it's not a crime.
But
okay, let me finish the text messages.
We should stop this
because people have also paid for that. This one from Stephen, your namesake at Kwabenya, says the finance minister and the communications minister should spare us. If 241 billion borrowed in 5 years could not construct roads, is it the e-levy that is going to do that? What happened to the Sino-Hydro deal? Now you want to come and take our savings under this e-levy. Under what tax law does the e-levy fall? Why are they not passing the bill as Dr. Amwa says it will be done? Osman from Tamale says, why should I pay charges on salary that has already been taxed because I decide to send that money to my mobile money account or do a bank transfer? The minority must do everything possible to reject this killer tax. Sule from Tamale writes, Dr. Amwa should tell us which category of workers are not currently working and are being paid. The toll booth collectors are sitting at home and are taking salary because of government's intransigence. And the same with UTAG and other groups. So if the economy is not doing well, it's because of their bad approach, which is why. Lukman from Offenso, our leaders have no political will to address corruption-related issues, and that's why we are losing money. They only do so when it's against their opponents. And Walanyo in Akwitia says the minority is fighting a concern that is needless and quietly rhetorical. If it's true that the e-levy will make this government unpopular and cause their defeat in 2024, then the NDC should help them lose by passing the e-levy. And at this point, I'll come to Honorable Ricketts Hagan. Yeah, so the communications minister made a very instructive point, which we played earlier. She indicated that when the communication service tax was being put forward, the NDC was opposed to it. However, when the NDC came into government, it did not repeal that tax. And in addition to other taxes that we've seen, toll debt recovery levy has been going on for God knows how long. The NDC never came and stopped it. And other taxes. So there is no guarantee really that all this opposition you are putting forward, that if this is passed, the NDC will keep faith with us and in principle, if it comes to office, say that, look, we were against this, it's regressive, and so we are removing it. Why should we believe you on the stance that you take?
Well, thank you again. I have been listening patiently to my brother Doc, and I know the passion with which he speaks, but I think, Doc, this morning you have been passionately wrong on a lot of issues.
Definitely, you don't agree with me.
And the idea that we should sit down and let them pass it to go and lose, I think it would be very irresponsible, to do that in opposition. We are supposed to be a constructive opposition and a credible one. Yes, we want to win elections, we want to win 2024. But to say that we will sit down knowing that this tax is going to cause further hardships to Ghanaians, but it will actually help us to win an election, therefore we should let it go, would be very, very irresponsible, and it wouldn't be something that I will participate in. But just back on his schools, if they have built some classrooms, that's okay. We're talking about schools, but if added some classrooms, fine. The question here is, it's not about number of classrooms that they have built, or number of hospitals, if they've done any. It's about how much money has come into the hands of this government in the last 5 years and what they have used that money for. Here, one of the text messages was saying 241 billion. And that's exactly, we hand them over 120 or 122 billion, depending on how you look at it. Now we are 341.8 billion. That is over 200 billion borrowed in the last 5 years. The question then becomes, what has this money really been used for? Every year is a year of roads, yet you see very little roads. Agenda 111, as you said, became a knee-jerk reaction, and they had to, start doing something. Now they've come up with a new models of schools that they are going to build, like they're going to do their own. This government has borrowed so much money, they have created so much deficit, and as a result of that, borrowed at the back of deficit.
But are you not? You're not being fair to the government, because to be honest, the last 2 years have been very difficult.
Yes, I will come. Look, Jifa, pandemic affected every corner of this planet, not only in Ghana. Those who had prepared well, those who had a prudent economic management, came out of this better than others, and Ghana was definitely not one of them. We, before the pandemic, and this is a very serious something, and we will take it up. Before the pandemic, we were over and over saying that the government was doing financial engineering to the economy, to the economic indicators, and that the figures being presented to us were not actually the true figure or the true state of the economy. You remember at one time there was even a dispute between them and the IMF as to whether the figures they've sent to them, and then later they said, oh, we didn't add financial, what is it called, services cleanup. I don't want to call it a cleanup. That was a mess. You know, financial services.
The banking sector.
Yeah, the banking sector.
The amount of money that was committed.
We didn't add the energy. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. We told them the deficit figure you guys are showing is a wrong deficit figure. It is good you want to be within the Fiscal Responsibility Act of the 5%, but it doesn't mean that you have to cook the figure. We told them at the time that your deficit was around 7%. They were telling us what their GDP was. We said your GDP was around 5%, less than 5%. They said no, we are growing at 6%.
Less than 5%.
Well, I'm saying that your figures you presented. Can I, Doc? I give you time to talk.
Right.
The figures you guys were presented would be problematic. Now, what broke the camel's back was the pandemic, which obviously messed things up. Let me give you an example, you know, and then my hometown in Cape Coast, we have there's not a proverb, as I say, if you build your house with clay and the storm comes and basically, you know, knock your house down, when you get out of the clay house, you are going to blame the storm. But when you look around and your neighbors' buildings are still standing, then you begin to, you know, blame the materials that you use in building your house. Ghana's economy before the pandemic was built with clay. That is why we are in this mess. We were cooking figures. We were not presenting the right figures. Therefore, when the pandemic came, we moved from 6% growth to nearly zero. When countries who were doing about 3% were able to maintain 1%. So there were serious fundamental flaws. We were piling up deficit. And you know, what is your debt, basically? Your debt is an accumulation of deficit. Your difference between your revenue and your expenditure becomes your deficit, which you have to fund. And you have to go and borrow and fund it.
Okay, so we have, I think we have a 7% of GDP, which is our deficit.
Yeah,
that we have to close that gap.
Yeah, we have to close that gap. Now, the problem is that we have borrowed so much. And you know, let me tell you why the people wonder why these guys are so much on the e-levy. Let me tell you the secret, what is happening. This government is in a mess. And I pray and hope that we can get the government out of this mess, but not by e-levy, which is like 6.9 billion. Number one, we have borrowed so much. And you know, most of our borrowing in the last even decade has mostly been in the bond market. Especially them, in the last 5 years, they have done more Eurobond than government of Kufuor, Atamils, Mahama, all combined. We have borrowed to the hills. At the moment, the problem we are having is that we are being downgraded because of the poor state of our economy. At the moment, we've been downgraded by Fitch to B-. There is a downgrading that will be coming very soon by Standard & Poor and Moody. What that means is that this government has lost the ability to go to the capital market to borrow. And therefore, the yield levies that they want to collateralize or leverage their future borrowings on, if they don't get the yield levy, our bonds in the market already will be like more or less a junk status. Because from B- you go to CCC. And it means that basically your bonds are nothing to write home about.
Now, just to hold you there a bit on the e-levy, if we have, according to government's data, some $90 billion running through financial transactions, it may not seem unfair for government to want some of that amount because a lot of the transactions has shifted from the physical to the virtual. I mean, people cannot be running e-commerce businesses and not contributing their quota.
I think I made a point earlier that the structure of the economy itself has shifted from what you have rightly said, traditional economy to the digital one.
So shouldn't government take advantage of that? Because that's where the money is.
The government can eventually will have to go there, but it has to be done with a proper research, proper understanding of exactly what is going on. They have not understood anything about what is happening in the digital economy.
Are you saying that the government has not provided or undertaken this research? Because when they had their forum on Thursday, they provided data.
Well,
it showed the why, the how. The fact that we disagree with it doesn't mean that
it doesn't. But I'll tell you what
valid.
I'll tell you what I will want to see and what I didn't see that I said it doesn't. It's not a matter of just telling us that the Ghana's economy has shifted to digital, therefore you have to follow them there and go and tax them. What exactly are we taxing? When we talk about a digital economy, it's not just, a Momo, transactions. The e-commerce itself. I mean, I know they show some slide about e-commerce having, reached about $780 million or something, and the 90 billion that you are talking about. No proper work has been done in basically arriving at this 1.75 that they want to charge on Momo transaction. Other than that, if the government needs money, without the money, this government is good, and they need money. And then when you tell them, they say, "Oh, doesn't every government need money? Doesn't every government?" When you need money for reckless expenditures, that is all the smart, money.
Aren't you being what's the word? Subjective by saying that the expenditure they are engaged in is reckless. If they have to build roads, if they have to provide schools, they have to build hospitals.
I would want to see that, not a 50 million jet to fly around and have
but
a
that's
bath.
just one.
Well, that is
just one thing.
That is one because it's happened at the presidency. That's probably why you've seen it. There are so many things. Look.
That's just, I don't want us to use the presidential jet because the truth of the matter is, if an NDC president comes to office, I would want that president to travel in a manner that maintains
if you go
safety
through the budget, and I don't know if
that.
Doc has seen it. I have read the budget from beginning to end. If you go through the budget, you will see some monies that they have allocated to certain things. That doesn't really make sense. Look, we have spent over 20 billion in this financial cleanup that they're talking about. They set up a company called GATS, Ghana Amalgamated Trust. That consultancy firm, it was called at the time, was supposed to be packed with expert bankers who will help the existing banks to survive. Now the Ghana Amalgamated Fund or Trust, without coming to Parliament, is now being turned into a private equity. And government is allocating 1 billion into that. That 1 billion will be coming from the e-levy. That money is going to end up in the pockets of people. It will not be doing anything. Somebody should explain to me why we have finished the financial cleanup. They claim we are being levied for that whole cleanup, which was a useless exercise. As a banker, from a banking perspective, banks that could have been saved. Look, banks needed like 400 million, 400 million. That was the new numbers that the Bank of Ghana wanted every bank to have. That was probably around $3 or so billion or whatever, if you put it all together. They spent about 4 or 5 times that amount of money to collapse all these banks. To collapse,
You're saying it like the banks were collapsed for collapsing.
Jifa, do you know
if banks are not, and you say you're a banker, if banks are not operating proper good governance structures, they are not providing the required liquidity.
Does it mean they should be shut down? Does that mean they should be shut down? Do you know of any single bank that had a bank run? And a bank run meaning that people were rushing to go for their money? Any single bank? All the banks collapse. If a bank is coming to collapse, there's going to be a bank run. Do you know of any of these banks that had a bank run on them? That people went there, that they were going to get their money? But the
Bank of Ghana had identified, the fact that they didn't get to that point doesn't mean that we should allow,
what I'm telling you,
if they keep borrowing money to shore up their liquidity, it's not sustainable.
NIB was in West State that some of the banks, they collapsed. Why did NIB survive? Because they pumped money in it, because it was a government bank. They pumped money in it, and then they try to improve the management. What we needed was a better banking supervision by the Bank of Ghana itself. How could somebody get a banking license with forgery document? That is not, the onus is not on the person who is setting up the bank. I mean, we know there are criminals in this world, and that is why we have basically structures to deal with them. If I come and set up a bank and I'm able to get away with it by presenting you with false document, some of these are assets, and nobody was able to do any proper due diligence, and then you said at the end of the day you are closing that bank because they didn't present you with the right papers. You should have sacked yourself first before collapsing that bank.
Okay, we've moved into other areas. Dr. I'll let you respond. We need to take a break.
I'm telling you about with these kind of reasons, this waste.
These are the profligate expenditures.
These are the things that created deficit that resulted in borrowing and resulted in more taxes. Why are we paying financial services, levy? It's because of this. Why are we going for e-levy? It's because of some of these things. Why is it that we have flagship programs that are not working, but nobody is looking at it? Ghana is the only country where the more money they put, into food for planting and jobs,
planting for food and jobs.
When you look through the budget, since MPP came to office, the contribution of GDP from agriculture has been going down. You can check in the budget. Forget about agriculture and say agriculture has fisheries and other things in it. Just take crops because they are planting for food. So when you plant crops. The percentage of crops contribution to GDP has been going down. Most of the inflation we are having at the moment is food inflation as a result of not having enough food. Ghana is the only country where the more we plant, the less we harvest. Such a program should be looked at. The amount of money that we are borrowing to put into this program in buying fertilizers and all those things, somebody should look at where these things are going. If it's not working, we should revise it.
Okay.
Or stop it, so that we don't continue to spend money and think we need money, so let's go and tax people. We need money, let's go and tax people. It's about time you look at the expenditure. I'm glad to hear, and if we get opportunity, we'll come to that. I'm glad to hear that the finance minister said he is suspending 20% of expenditure.
Yes.
Across board. A good idea, but a bad strategy.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back with Dr. Amoah, who I'm sure certainly have a lot to say on what's been said so far. It's the Key Points on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3. Thanks for your messages. I'll read them when we get back.
A serene environment, state-of-the-art teaching and learning materials, dedicated teachers, small class sizes, and world-class facilities define the excellence at Startright Montessori and Christian College.
It's a very nice school and I really love it.
The Montessori Primary, Junior High School, and Senior High School levels offers a world-class educational experience.
Looking to choose a school for your ward? Choose right. Choose soft skills. Choose Startright.
We also run international programs such as the Cambridge O and A levels. We have boarding facilities as well with spacious dormitories. Locate Startright Montessori and Christian College on the Startright Lane off Fanny Road, New Botiano. Call us on 0244 098881 or 0244 522 350 or visit our website at www.scc.edu.gh.
I invite you to bring your ward to Startright Montessori School and Startright Christian College.
Startright Montessori and Christian College, the best world-class education experience in Ghana.
1393. You made Grandma smile, and now you are making me smile too.
Hey, Ajwa, who is that?
Shh. And now 10,000 CDs cash too. Hey, where dear me, Coffee. Listen.
The Key
Keysop mid-year promo. Simply buy the special Keysop promo pack. Open, scratch, and test the unique code to 1393 and win amazing prizes such as Kente, Westcloth, airtime, and cash from 100 Ghana cedis to 10,000 Ghana cedis for the winners who collect all 4 Edinkra symbols in the promo. Texts are absolutely free on all networks. This advert is FDA approved.
Describe yourself in a few words.
Sure, why not? I'm tall, light-skinned, muscular with packs, and good-looking. In summary, baby girl, I'm your dream guy.
Wow, I can't wait to see you.
I know, baby girl. Hi, Ajwa. I'm your dream guy, dream guy, dream guy, dream guy.
Over 100 young, beautiful, and handsome individuals looking for love.
When a woman loves,
You get me some ice cream, you keep the ring in it.
she loves for real.
I'm not Kevin, but I like you. You're someone I really want.
Or enter Yana. You also pagos, no connecting you supposed to.
And you're back.
This is what my mom said I should come for.
Your mom never said
Don't miss Date Rush, showing this and every Sunday on TV3 at 8 p.m. Yes, everyone on Date Rush deserves love.
Date Rush is brought to you by Rush Energy Drink,
Airtel Tigo, life is simple. Geisha, Close Up, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil, and Apa Foods, Gino Max, Fun Eyes, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, HD Plus, Darling Lemon, Freedom, Papa's Pizza, Camel, now from Carex, Touch Concentrated Perfume, Duffy's Ohima Feminine Mixture.
Aspirant president is joke as what? Aspirant. Your Honor, when we were young, we play a game called Quitting Girl, and it's through this Quitting Girl that Tic Tac came to sing a song. Philomena Quitting Girl, yeah. Philomena Quitting Girl, yeah. And you are, go.
He says his eyelashes are his eyelashes. Yeah. He was born like this. Let's accept that and move on.
This man crying here. He's watching though.
Your cats are very lovely animals. They make very beautiful pets.
Why the thing is a lovely pet, but it don't last long in your house?
The wait is over. The most celebrated, multiple award-winning courtroom drama series in Ghana is back. Kijetia vs. Makola, where the streets meets the law. It's bigger, better, and stacked with more humor. Kijetia vs. Makola, brand new episodes.
Kejetia vs. Makola every Saturday 9 p.m. and repeats on Fridays at 2 p.m. on TV3.
Based on what I say, there are problems in this country. You are mismanaging.
Good morning again, and thanks for sticking with us here on the key points. And let me take some of your messages quickly, and then Dr. Amwa will come in with his responses. It's been quite a robust back-end discussion so far. This one from Frank in Takrady says, Jifa, I have 2 children in university who receive Momo every month. Are these kids are not earning salary, and so it means that they will also be taxed on the monthly remittance they receive. Is that what the government wants? Ismaila from Horoya says, the MPP promised to strengthen Ghana and move it from taxation to production. Please ask Honorable Dr. Amwa what has changed. He says we were supposed to move from taxation to production. What has changed? Ernest Kwashi says the controversial e-levy is insidious and is aimed at ensnaring the already suffering Ghanaian masses who are already in despair. we, the overwhelming majority of Ghanaians, will mount a strong opposition to this insensitive levy. If the claim is there's no money in the public purse, then, and that they need money to govern this country, then they need to go back to the IMF for policy credibility, which is essential components for transparency and accountability. This one from Koshi Badon says, if you transfer 1 million cedis between banks, you will end up paying some 17,500 cedis in levy. Who would then do that? The cash economy would be unleashed once again, and this would have implications for money supply, as large amounts of money in the banking sector will not be large amounts of cash will not be available in the banking sector. I beg your pardon. It has implications for national security, as large amounts of money will be moving about. We'll have lots of queues at the banks. Productive man hours would be wasted. Good morning, TV3. The president told us that there is money in the country. If we have the money, why are we now taking money from the ordinary Ghanaian? Adam Swale from Tamale writes, a government that came and freezed maybe jobs, I think you meant, for years because of economic mismanagement and IMF policy, is now blaming the NPP government, who had employed unemployed graduates of over 20,000 from 2018 to 2021. Evidence is that the local government sector employed some 3,000 people, the audit service 2,000, the security sector over 10,000, and the audit service and the GRA as well. The NDC should stop the media propaganda and allow the government to pass the e-levy so that they can continue to manage the government and the country prudently. Those were your messages. Yes, Dr. Amwa.
Jifa, I'm begging you and the Ghanaian media practitioners that I'm not saying you don't love Ghana. I know you guys are doing well. It's not easy. The way MPP and this, we do our things. But I think we should introduce new paradigm shifts. There are specific issues that come out for public controversy and debate. You go deeper, get the facts from the right source, and come and expose MPP or NDC. Because a lot of people are being deceived. Look, we mismanage this country and the economy that my brother was saying. And he's a finance man. We have key performance parameters from reliable or statutory bodies such as Statistical Services, IMF, Bank of Ghana. I'm not saying they have 100% data points correct, but we can rely on them. What did we take over in these areas? Can my brother tell me that we did not take over economy that was growing 3.2 or 3.4%? Can he tell me that interest rate was not over 30%? Can you tell me that treasury bills, which when they go up, it means a country's economy is doing bad, wasn't about 22.5 within the same period? Now you get some 12 and 14. Can you tell me that government-owned interest rate is never occurred in any country? It averagely is higher than today's market lending rate. It was 25.5. Today you get the lending rate less than 24%. So why are you lying to the people? Even when you are talking about debt increment in this country, cumulatively, the NDC has or have the worst record. In fact, their own last economic thing that they did, read by my own brother, Dr. Atu Hagan. I'm with him on the same finance committee. My brother should pull that data and show it to you. They did it, is UPSA. Between 2008 and 2016, they increased our debt portfolio over 1,000% from 2 or 3 to 120.3 billion in terms of debt increment. It's over 1,000%. Between 2012 and 2016, they increased our debt portfolio over 240%. We're not having any COVID. That were actually impairing our revenue generation arm. What are they talking about? And they say that we don't use the monies well. All monies used go through finance committee and other committees, on which NDC and MPP guys are sitting on. With the exception of this year levy, that I can say the finance committee, my brothers voted against at the committee level. I'm being very honest with you. All of them, in fact, from 2016 that we came, asked him if they are not part of it. You can't talk wishy-washy. The fact is that there are challenges, yes. You can't say there's no hardship when there hasn't been any hardship in Ghana. But the fact is that MPP government at all times managing the economy have done far better than NDC in all the fields. They are factual. Please, the roads that he's talking about, can you give us about 2 weeks? Call me and him. Let's break the roads done by MPP and what they did, and send, we all find money and give to your own reporters to go to the sites and check. In fact, NDC's time, the major road that I know, between Fufoso and Sola, they commissioned the road 2016. Sometimes you drive on that road, 10 minutes, you meet any car. Go and check the routes now. It's like pancake. You see, they can't do propaganda. You're talking about banking industry. Banking industry under this government is making profit annually, sometimes over 100%. Please go to the banks and check.
How many of them are local banks? How many of them are local banks?
Check the local banks whether they are not making profit.
How many local banks do we have?
We don't have local banks. What do our local banks?
You have collapsed
there. NIB is not local bank.
Ghanaian
NIB is not local bank.
Private owned bank.
Please, you said when you're talking.
Oh, it's okay. He can ask questions, more questions.
Oh, but I mean, I couldn't. Please ask me.
Let him just ask you.
So he asked me. I'm listening.
No, he asked.
Is ADB not local bank?
Those are government institutions as well.
So they are foreign banks?
No, they are not foreign.
So what I'm saying, what you have to do, your team, is to go and check even the individual banks, whether they are doing well or not. And he said that people are not rushing to the banks. In this country, somebody wanted even 20,000. 20,000. You sit at the bank, they will close it. It was on TV, even your own TV. So why is he saying all this incorrect, making this incorrect statement?
It's true. Some of the banks were distressed and there were financial challenges. But I think part of the argument he was seeking to make is if we spend 20 billion on financial sector cleanup, we invest money in government flagship projects, whether it's planting for food and jobs and all these things, and the results of it still mean that people need to be taxed. Then that's the question that is being raised.
I don't mind you repeating what he's saying, so I'm not saying this to you. I don't mind anybody who is not an expert in this field asking this question. Maybe I agree with him because he wants to do politics. So because of this, we don't tax. Let me tell you how we tax. We tax because I told you 2017 we reduced about 17 tax components. I'm coming. They introduced 26 between 2014 and 2016. We do that because it has to be done with that is a calibrative or calibration model or policies. That when situations are getting bad within our fiscal space, i.e. government spending against our taxation policies, you either introduce new one or reduce this one to solve problems. You understand what I'm saying? The fact that we introduce policy A, B, C, D in our agri sector doesn't mean that we should get to so much results that we don't have to even tax. Look, go and read the PFM Act. Public Financial Administrative Act. Is it 2016? Act 9, is it 981? Okay, Section 18 thereabout.
Public Financial Management Act.
PFM Act.
Yeah.
Well, yes, Section 18 there. It states 3 conditions, emphatically without any controversy or ambiguity, that under such conditions, even our fiscal rules and our policies, which mainly involve taxing policies and spending policies of government, should upon consultation be suspended. 1, natural disaster. 2, war. 3, health epidemic or pandemic. So even the situation we are in today, the laws of the land governing how we should spend our money, how we should tax and those things, couldn't have even been taken through the normal or the conventional practice. They know, but because they want power, they want to deceive the entire
Dr. Amwa, isn't it true that government must manage its expenditure?
But is government not managing its expenditure?
Well, if public sector workers feel that they are getting a low percentage increment.
Is there any era or period or year in this country that public service workers think that they are getting what they are supposed to get?
Oh, certainly not. But I think the last 2 years, the 4%, 7% is a bit low. We've had 10% increase. We've had 12% increase
when we're having
in the
minimum
past.
wage. Under them around 6.
Kufuor
Six. Remember they increased by 6 or 8. Inflation rate was 15.4.
We are not talking about. We are not talking about minimum wage. We are talking about the base pay public sector increase.
What I'm saying is that.
So the concern some Ghanaians have is that my salary increase is so small.
Against what?
Inflation.
Inflation. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? This check and the NDC. Salary increase.
But why do we have to go back?
Because he is saying it.
No.
Madam,
you say you can do the job.
Then I don't understand what you're saying. I'm debating NDC man who is claiming that the increment against inflationary rate is no good. And the other time is worse. I shouldn't say it.
We are looking at the current.
I don't get it.
A single spine.
Shouldn't we? No, but
I'm saying that if the same people that are complaining, they had a worst case scenario.
So they shouldn't talk.
Exactly, because ours is better. Development is a process. You talk about marginal increase against even the existing conditions. They even came and look. They even came and cancelled teachers and their allowance for as pro-poor government. They cancelled all of those things. They even collapsed NHIs back to cash and carry. Go and check that time when they were living. Are they the same today? Now over 100,000 Ghanaians, but for free SHS would have been home. 10 years would have been over 1 million. Have you considered the fraction of it that will go into robbery, insecurity, teenage pregnancy, the deplorable state that they will leave this country in? My sister, I'm not saying MPP government is perfect, but let's be very honest with what is happening and manage these things very well, because people are, I'm sure, look, do you know about 100,000 teachers have been employed? And I'll go and check from education. In parliament that in which I'm there with, these statements are all there. Do you know that? Go and check. People still need jobs. Between 2012 and 2016, what did they do? Because of just policy credibility. Policy credibility. What I'm saying is that we have a problem to solve because of an uncontrollable factor. Ships bringing things to Ghana today. Things they were taking $4,000. Now they are taking $12,000 over dollars. About 400 or 300% increase. It will affect everything, because look at this room. Everything we use, about 90% we imported. Can you blame Akufo-Addo for that? When COVID has caused all these things. So I appreciate the fact that there are problems. But even in the problems, we have done far, far, far better than those who are creating this, higgledy-piggledy mambo-jumbo and the abracadabra in the system. We have done far better than them. Those who are raising much controversy, those who think they should be given opportunity, they've ruled this country more than any other government. Anytime they are leaving, they grow our economy less than 4%. Without any problem such as we are having. Anytime they are leaving, go and check all the economy. They are talking about economic figures. No, let me also
end so that he can come in.
NDC style. I'm not talking about NDC fake economic figures. Not this one. I'm coming. And Ghana had to pay millions of dollars. I will look for the right story. He knows what I'm talking. If he's a finance person, not under Mahama, not former President Mahama anyway. You are not about NDC. You understand what I'm saying? Now he's talking about.
That's so far back.
Madam.
What did you say?
So what happened yesterday is not past.
Oh, I'm not saying that, but that's why I can't even remember.
The way you are doing, no, but I see everything that you want to rather find a reason for.
No, please.
But it's under NDC.
I'm just saying that it's so far back. I'm even struggling to remember.
What we are saying is that maybe because you are not a politician, he makes a statement about a particular issue. They have done worse. I need to let him know that they even did worse, and ours is not.
And so they don't have a moral right to
apart from
criticize
moral right, they don't have to receive it. Two, what did we inherit? Even the credit rating. We inherited.
But what did you inherit?
We inherited negative.
Wait, hold on. Didn't you inherit
negative?
But even then, didn't you inherit funds from the Heritage Fund, the sinking fund, what do you call it? The infrastructure fund.
From where?
All these money.
No, NDC left the money.
Yes.
That's not true. Let me explain to you.
Okay.
So under MPP, the Heritage Fund and other things, they did not also inherit money or something. Or they put the Heritage Fund all over the wicked. Every government has.
The Heritage Fund was set by the NDC.
But that's how MPP government had. There was no fund that you NDC inherited.
Stabilization Fund was handed over to you.
Even the funds that we have gotten, we use them far better than them.
The Ghana Infrastructure Fund was handed over to you.
All the monies they got.
The sinking fund was handed over to you.
Madam, when he's speaking, I'll do say, don't stop
It's
me.
my turn to speak.
I will do.
Okay, so you
don't even worry. I will not listen to you, so don't worry. I will do say that one is a fact.
Oh, Dr. Amwa.
Because I kept quiet for him
for too long.
Okay, so you wrap up, Dr. Amwa. It's okay, Dr. Amwa, you wrap up. We have 15 more minutes. So, Dr. Amwa, you wrap up.
Time, you have taken more time.
Okay, Dr. Honorable Hagan, so let him wrap up and then you can come in. Yes, Dr. Amwa.
You see, these are the things that push me to say things people think I don't have the right to speak. The NDC, most of them are full of lies. Rana, he said, I've taken. What time have you set for me and yourself?
Okay, let's.
You can't be
no. Let's go. No, it's okay. Let's not go into that.
So
let's not go into that.
I respect him.
Okay, so let's stick to the issue. Okay, so let's not go into that. I'm the moderator, so don't worry. Just explain the issue you wanted to explain.
What he's done to my time segment?
No, he's not done anything to your time. You go ahead.
People are watching, so don't let them think you are supporting him.
It's okay. Please just go ahead.
Because you see what he's done.
But I've allowed you to continue. Please continue.
How can I continue? If you distract me and put me off my track, how do I speak?
Okay.
And then you allow him to do it for a long time.
No, he was just asking you questions.
The last one, he was asking me questions.
The Heritage Fund.
Hey, madam, people are watching us.
No, but
people are watching. He will not speak. Don't even worry. He will not speak. I'm being honest with you. If you are not being fair enough what he's doing to me, I will let him know. I'll not let him speak.
No, he was just raising the issue of the Heritage Fund and those funds.
With my peace with God. Nobody can control me with this lies about stickitis. I'm very calm person.
No. It's okay. So,
but I want my space to be respected.
Okay,
I want fair grounds.
It's fair grounds.
He spoke and I kept quiet.
Okay, so make your point. I've allowed you to make your point and for 5 minutes. But I said you should make your point.
Now I will speak again. Let him speak.
It's okay. Make your point.
I don't have any point to make. Speak. You alone should speak.
Well, if you don't have any point to make, let me make that point.
Because it's not right. You cannot do that.
If you don't have any point to make,
you cannot do that.
Let me make the point.
You cannot.
Okay, it's all right.
Speak on this platform.
It's okay.
You cannot speak on this
Dr. Amwa, it's all right.
Okay, it cannot be all right.
Dr. Amwa, I asked you to make your point.
Let's have a civil conversation here.
Any government that comes and go, there's a fund policy that somebody inherits. You inherit debt, you inherit liabilities and assets. How you use the money for, that's why I have reference point analysis, what you took over. In spite of all that you are talking about, we have been using state resources far better than the NDC. It is a fact. You cannot change it. It is not about propaganda. So if we want this country war and go with the Bible and the Quran, please, the so-called people who think they are speaking the truth and they know, they should go and pick this. They come and tell Ghanaians. We don't want the wishy-washy. Why is that the NDC is not analyzing what the Akufo-Addo government took over from them one by one and say that we've done positive to negative to these are the figures? Why are they not doing that? Now they are talking about corruption. Corruption perception cannot be accepted.
We have not started that topic.
No, but he said that the way we use the money.
We'll come there. So
you cannot. Because after each government, which is NDC's fraternity, somebody is jailed for corruption. Kufuor came, they used wawa, boom, boom. You remember? They came after that 8 years. Who could they jail? It is only when court of competent jurisdiction pronounces you guilty and you are jailed, then you can say somebody is corrupt. It's not the perception. So what I'm saying is that MPP is not perfect. NDC, they are not perfect. I can't say NDC, they've not done anything good. But between the two, about 90% of all performance parameters or appraisal document indicators, MPP is 100 times better than NDC, except those who are dishonest, intellectually dishonest, or they just display their ego trips, or display only unconscious incompetence because they don't know the facts. They depend on facts and lies and deceptions. I mean, within the space where people put things on internet.
Okay, thank you very much.
This is what I want to say.
All right. Yes, Honorable Rickens Hagan.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want Doc to understand that I'm not the type to be bullied, and he can't bully me. So he should not even attempt that.
Me.
Let's have a civil way of having a conversation here.
This is
and not
civility is when I made you talk
and not be pointing
Dr.
that you will let me talk.
No.
Dr.
You have no right.
What
you tell me that you will not make me talk.
No, civility is when
you
I
have no right
to speak And it's
to
my
tell
turn,
me
you let me talk.
that I
If
cannot
you are
talk.
talking about
But you have been allowed
said
to make
you
your
have no
point.
right.
Insult me.
He's not
I
insulting
said you have no right to tell me I cannot talk.
No.
You speak with English.
You have no right.
So don't say that. Tell him not
Doctor,
to use those.
I said
I
you
want
have
I
no
want
right
the two of you gentlemen.
to tell me
so Honorable
that I cannot
Hagan,
talk.
just go ahead and address the specific.
I need him to understand
So-
that he cannot tell me
so-
that I cannot
But you
talk.
cannot insult
You
me.
are
I
not the
respect you,
moderator,
sir. But don't
and you
insult
cannot.
me.
What is the insult?
We say civility. When you were speaking, I kept quiet.
It's
Why you didn't allow me to speak?
What is the insult about civility?
So
Check your
what is
Oxford
the meaning
dictionary.
of
Check the
civility?
Oxford
In the context you
dictionary.
use. What's the meaning?
What
were
which
you implying?
context?
I'm not being civil. If I'm not being civil, is that not insult?
Yes, we are not
You
being
supposed
civil
to
here.
speak.
So
you
let's
cannot
say-
point your
okay.
hand at me and tell me that
Okay, so
I
Dr.
cannot
Amwa, I think
You have no right.
I think you've made.
Yeah,
I think
you can
you've made your
distort me,
point.
but don't tell
It's
me to
okay.
withdraw that
So
word.
please, Dr.
It's not
Honorable
right.
Hagan,
Tell him
I want the
to
two
use
of you to give
printed
each
words
other
because I
space.
respect him.
We want the conversation.
insult me.
We want the conversation to go
cannot.
on in a
Yeah.
clear, calm
So
manner.
I have made a point, Jifa, that he cannot
don't
bully me,
insult me.
and he cannot
I
tell
respect
me
you.
It's
that
okay.
I cannot
Nobody
talk.
is bullying anyone.
You have no
You
right
your point.
to do that.
You have your point.
Using
Go
uncomfortable
ahead,
words.
Honorable Hagan.
Right
Yes.
now, again, this
country.
government has mismanaged the economy to an extent that now they are boxed
Please,
into a
hold
corner.
on,
Bring
sir.
your figures.
They are boxed into a corner. I'll bring you the figures.
Okay.
State them.
You
What we took over.
Okay, hold on.
not about, you are not going to tell me what I should say. I will tell you what I have to tell you to back my.
Okay,
to back
Honorable
my.
Amwa, please.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank
madam.
you.
Okay.
You have run a deficit that you have not been honest with before pandemic. You were cooking figures, and we pointed that to you
know this
several
is a lie.
times. You went to IMF with wrong figures, and then you came back telling us that you did not add financial services and other things. That is why the figures like that. Even last year, when you told us that the deficit was 9.4, it turned out that it was 12. For the same reason that you have not added certain things to it. You have run.
But is that a wrong thing? I mean, if
you are not being
if the
truthful to the people,
they may not. It's not that they are not being
Look,
truthful. Maybe this is
Jifa,
the way
we
they
have-
present
we-
their
we-
accounting.
We have a standard
It's not even
of
true. What you say
presenting
is not true.
financial figures. We have a standard for
propaganda.
presenting economic figures. You cannot choose. Look, you are entitled to your own opinion. You are not entitled to your own fact. And fact must be presented the way it should be presented. You cannot pull a wool over our eyes and be telling us things, and then when we go into this pandemic, now everything is pandemic. Meanwhile, you have received so much money from this pandemic, from the World Bank, from the IMF, from fund, from stabilizer. You even wanted to go to Heritage, and we didn't allow you. You set up a private, donations. You have spent so much money, over billions, yet you did not even put up a single hospital to treat COVID. All the hospitals were there for you. The government that you accuse of misusing money was the same government that built the hospitals that you are enjoying today. You've been talking about year of roads every year, and I'm not sure when that year will come. Agenda 111, we are still at the same place. Yet you have been giving so much money, revenue, taxes, borrowing. You've done all this. You have nothing to show for it. I said, and I challenge you again. You have flagship programs that are not working. Would you not take a look at those and say that, let's look at our expenditure. Let's put the whole expenditure on the table and look at the things that we are investing money in and look at whether these things that we are doing are performing. The fact that it's a good thing that you are doing does not necessarily mean that you are doing it well. And definitely planting for food and jobs, I don't see as an.
You keep mentioning that, but
Yes,
that's just one
because-
flagship
and it's a
program.
very expensive one.
But that is doing
There
well.
is a lot of money doing well by what standard?
It's better. Far
By
far-
what standard?
Agric today is far better than your time.
It is not creating the jobs that are needed. The more you plant food, the less you harvest. Most of the inflation we have today are all food inflation.
Okay, but
what does that mean?
apart from planting for food and jobs, apart from, I know you've criticized what we spend in terms of the presidential travels.
Absolutely.
What else do you feel that
the
we should
leakages,
cut? The
the
leakages.
corruption,
Which president never traveled?
the corruption,
And which president never used?
and that is where they are using money. And that is why we are incurring all this deficit that is translating to borrowing.
So your time there
now,
was no deficit.
They are in a
Dr. Amma, yes, you've asked. You asked.
There was no deficit under NDC.
Well, you said you can fix the problem, and then you are here. You are running a 12% deficit.
You are having effective
and then you are putting everything.
Negative effective tax.
What effective?
Let me explain.
Negative tax.
If you don't understand, let me explain.
I don't understand.
So explain it.
I don't understand.
So explain.
I don't want to go into that intellectual angle with you because you don't know more than I do.
So you agree.
I have to let you know that.
Okay, so Dr. Amma, you've had your time of interruption.
You have no negative. You have no negative. You have no negative nothing.
So you look.
You know, last year, you heard that they said GRA said that they have achieved their tax target.
Oh, come on.
Okay, come on. You have achieved your tax target. I wanted to say something about taxes, which is not actually this government alone, but over the years, as I started like in the last 10 years, you realize that our revenue is always lagging behind our output, which is our GDP. And that can be reinforced when you look at our revenue to GDP. You realize that it's below what our peers are getting. It's only this budget that we have projected that we are going to make 100 billion, and that translates to about 20% of our GDP.
Which is an increase of over 40 billion, because I think last year our target was 60 billion.
Yes, well, target was 70. 2 billion, we got 70. But in terms of, we have three different, we have the total revenue, you have the domestic revenue, and you have the tax revenue. So when you add it up, then you get to the total revenue. Now, if you look at the way we look at in terms of setting up our tax, targets, we have not been doing very well at that. And it's not peculiar to only this government. Somebody will tell you that sometimes when we set, if you look at the last 10 years, you realize that most of the targets we set, we don't actually get it. And the reason we don't get it is not because we set ambitious, tax target, but it's because we are not able to reach all the corners where we should get the tax. As I said,
but that's why the government wants to do e-levy, and you are opposed to it.
Yes, and I'm coming down. So we realize that we need to look at how we can widen the tax net. We're looking at the informal sector and looking at the structure of the economy itself. The structure of the economy has shifted, as you rightly said. But in order to go into the transfers and that space, the e-commerce and all that, you need to understand exactly what is going on. You don't go there and just slap taxes on anything because you are looking for money, and then say that we need money, therefore we should give you the money. I told you something, that even with indirect tax, that affects everyone. It is still not good for others, because there are people who are already paying their fair share of tax. But in trying to reach some who are not, you try to slap more taxes on them. Those things need to be looked at. Okay?
So do you project that we are going to go back then to a cash economy?
Well, that is basically, we are losing. If we go down that road, we are going to be losing all the gains that we have made.
But what do you then say to the communications minister who said that the CST, people complain that it will make people stop wanting to use their phones and all that? Well, nothing has changed.
We had VAT, which we are all enjoying today. It came and we opposed it. What did the NDC do?
No. The MPP in opposition first opposed it. The NDC had to withdraw it and go back and
look at it because
and bring it
I wasn't there at the time, but it looks as if probably much work was not done on it, so they had to go and do it. Yeah. When you ask these guys to go and do the same, they say no.
Okay.
We want to.
Okay. So you say you've reduced it. Yes.
Is my time up?
Oh, yes.
Yes, your time is up.
See, maybe we need to start putting
Honorable Hagan, don't go
look
there.
At the time.
Honorable Hagan, don't go there. So, just a quick one before you come to the tax. Are you not worried that we'll go back to a cash economy? All the work the government has done, meaning if I know I'm spending 5,000 a month, I'll go and withdraw it and I'll spend it small. I will not use Mumu. I'll disable it. It means that anyone who wants money, they'll have to come to my office and take it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If I have 5,000 in my account, I will not keep it with the bank because of this tax. because of Momo. What has that got to do with this? I mean, practically. I mean, if I beg you, my boss, as he said, he knows more than I do. It's possible. I don't know the length of knowledge he has. But if you be honest with Ghanaians, cash economy and these are all political propaganda jargons. We don't have to go there. The fact of the matter is that levy, they know, will not be palatable in the short term, but in the medium and long term, it will solve not all, but most of our problems. We are in government. I'm saying that they should allow us to pass. If we are not able to attain what Ghanaians want, they will vote us. 2024 is a 1-2. They talk as if we don't care about Ghanaians and we are putting more taxes on them, as he said. I said between 2014 and 2016, they put taxes, they put or increase 26 tax components. That's why we don't want to talk about.
You've made that point, but what about the text messages?
I'm coming.
The text messages of all the ones I read, only 2 support e-levy.
How many people have the opportunity to text? How many people want to text? You cannot use this. You cannot.
I'm not saying it's total.
I'm explaining technicalities. NDC talking about widening the tax net. Haven't they been in government more than any other party? Haven't they?
I think he's admitted to that. That all governments haven't done very well.
All the resources we've taken as a country, we have done far better than them.
If you've done far better, why are we in such debt? Why have you borrowed so much? If you've managed the resources so well.
I told you that for the past 22 months,
it's because of the COVID.
Look, payee, over 40,000 employees. Our government was not getting payee. Corporate bodies were not paying corporate tax they were supposed to pay. Markets had been shut down. Restaurants had been shut down. Will you get the needed revenue? No. But if you don't get the needed revenue, if you have a husband and things happen, you can't go out. You can't even go to your farms or your shop. Your kids will eat. You have to be given medicines if the need arises. They need water. They need electricity. Probably you had a high purchase card from a bank. You still have to pay. So the difference between your asset and liability as a family, there will be some sort of deficit. You will get surplus. These are practical facts and issues. So circumstances led to probably the unexpected debt to GDP, which is not the fault of this government. No honest professional person can attribute. There could be other issues you could raise, which are general wastages in the system. It doesn't matter who is in government, we need to address. But we know profoundly, remarkably, this whole health pandemic issue for almost 2 years. Even United Kingdom, look at their inflation rate now. 4-fold, from 1% to about 4%, about 400%.
I don't have a way of verifying that.
Oh, you can Google. Check their interest rate from 0.5 to about 0.15. These are giant economies. Do you want to tell me that when the private sector had to be closed down, had to sack people from their places and other things, it did not affect government revenue? Let us do that. And even with this, all the things we took over from them, I can tell you that about 90% of them, we are better than them, even with this situation. With this situation, please go and check all of them and bring to us that our flagship programs are not working. Really?
Okay, I don't want to start a whole new debate on planting for food and jobs.
Do you want to tell me that free SHS is not working?
No, free SHS is good. Do you want to tell me that
national health insurance is not better? To go and ask the service providers. I'm not saying it is perfect, but go and ask them whether under them and under us, whose regime is making sure that they are more efficient and effective.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Amoah, for that. And that's why we bring close to that segment on the e-levy controversy. And it's still controversial because we have to wait and see what happens in Parliament. Speaker Bagbin, I'm told, is away for about a month. So we'll see how it goes with that. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll look at how Ghana has been performing on the 2021 Corruption Perception Index.
We still remember his humility.
My brothers and sisters.
My brothers and sisters. My brothers and sisters.
We still remember his principles.
I, as president of this nation, will never initiate
or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana.
We still remember his discipline.
If it means transferring everybody, I will give him the authority to do so. If it means changing all the people in customs, I will do so.
We still remember his sense of humor.
If NDC Team B can perform this well in 1 year, they should wait for the Team A. When the Team A comes, they will see what is going to happen.
On Tuesday, 1st February 2022, at the City Conference Center of the University of Ghana at 3 p.m., the governing board will introduce and launch the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. The man John Evans Atta Mills, 10 years on, he is still the Asumdwe Hene.
Yehia in Kabom, it's him na account, young Funko Babyara.
Glovo is the app that brings you anything you want. Like a good burger and ending the day in a big way. Or what you need from the supermarket right away. Even some diapers and escape any wahala. Download the app, order a Glovo and we'll deliver.
Season 12 brought you varying art with serious agility. You sang along. Danced.
Okay, I believe me, Brother Mike. That you say you boss.
And cheered.
I love it.
Talented Kids Season 13 promises to turn up a notch. The stage offers endless opportunities, molding talent and making dreams a reality. We are back again with 16 amazing talents to take you on a ride for this season. Don't miss the grand launch on January 30 and the weekly shows every Sunday. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids Grand Launch this Sunday 3 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it. Talented Kids is powered by Indomie and brought to you by Puma Drinks, Deluxe Acrylic Paint.
The way he is.
Back. Now, the 2021 Corruption Perception Index is out, and Ghana's performance isn't great. We placed 73rd out of 180 countries in the 2021 index. Now, apart from that, our score remains at 43 out of a total of 100. And this indicates that Ghana didn't make 43 over 100. Ghana failed to make progress in the fight against corruption in that regard, and we've not seen any major increase. What does that mean? And it leaves more to be desired, but what does that mean? Is it a lack of political will? Is it really about us individual Ghanaians who are really not doing enough to fight corruption or care even about corruption? We have an Office of Special Prosecutor. We have the Auditor General that keeps tracking expenditures and what's being spent and what is leaking. We have an anti-corruption action plan. Why are we not doing well in that regard? And that's the subject of our next discussion. So first we will go to the Zoom line. We'll speak to Professor David Abdullahi. He is with the African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption. So let me just take his first thoughts about the results of the Perception Index and what it means. Good morning to you, Professor Abdullahi, and thank you for joining us. What are your thoughts about the results of the 2021 Perception Index? I remember when you joined us here on Key Points some 3 weeks ago, you did mention that corruption was going to be a big issue, and now it is. So what are your thoughts on how we've performed and why? Hello, Prof. Can you hear me? Okay, looks like Prof can't hear us. We'll try and correct that. And let me come to our guests in studio. We'll be running till 9:50. So, yes. So, I'll let you give your points, Dr. Amoah. All right. You want to run away? No, yes. You have to stay at least for a while.
So we're going to finish 9.
I will not be like you. I will let you speak.
So go ahead.
No, because you're afraid.
So go ahead.
You know something.
Okay. So government's performance isn't great. In fact, the 43 has.
It's not worse than we took over from NDC. They know he knows.
But they've had a score of 48 before, which was far better. Their best performance was 48.
But
their
worst, isn't it?
No.
As it goes up, what?
No, as it goes.
What's perception? In any case, perception. What is perception? Perception could be true or false. Let's be very honest. Perception. Right now, let me give you a lift from here to Medina. Roll down my screen. About 100 people, Ghanaians, should see me and you. Later on, go ask them the opinion. If you open phone lines, those who called against MPP or NDC, about 90% are for them. Not out of properly compared facts and figures. I rather believe in corruption issue that we can validate based on court of competent jurisdictions. NDC, anytime, not even one regime, all the 2 regimes they've come, court of competent jurisdiction has jailed them. When they said that former President Mahama initiated one, who told you that one was going to end in jail? If they had not lost power. Let me finish. I'm coming. So perception, corruption perception, I'm not saying we should throw it away because it can influence decision-making processes. But you cannot validate that between the 2. And Akufo, what didn't Ghana, including NDC, wah, boom, boom, this, they will jail us. They came 8 years. They could not jail one person. So you cannot say they were corrupt. I'm not saying there's no corruption in MPP and NDC. I can't say that. I'll be dishonest. A whole system, you have somebody who is corrupt. But what we have to look at is that the regimes, whose regime has been able to put in place anti-corruption models and policies, whether they've been efficient or not, it's also another matter.
Can I come in now?
Procurement, let me land with the models. Procurement Act Bill, who brought it? Internal Audit Act, who brought it? Financial Administrative Act, who brought it? Even the special, is it the prosecution thing? Tell me, where on this earth in Africa that a president will put in place anti-corruption institution and will put in charge a leading member of the opposition? It means that there is the readiness and the political will. Whether that the relationship and the processes were managed well or not is also another thing to decide. But at least we have shown that we want to operate open culture system and fight corruption. 2, we have not been jailed by any court of competent jurisdiction when we are in government or out of government. They have all the time that they are in government, out of government, they are jailed.
Okay, so let me come in now because you keep raising that. The point is, isn't it true that the government may not be prosecuting its own? You are going after the opposition. After all, we had Galamsey, where people close to the government, politically exposed peoples were accused and mentioned. No one has mentioned them. We had procurement breaches with the Sputnik V. We had procurement breaches with the PPA boss. Nobody has been prosecuted for that.
You are wrong. I told you, I quoted PFM Act. Let people explain that thing. That when there is health epidemic or pandemic, when there's natural disaster or war, our fiscal policies and rules upon constitution. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of fiscal rules?
So how do you justify the PPA boss he was indicted by Shraj? It was clear, and that is why the president. But that should be prosecuted. It's not being done because this person is politically exposed.
I'm making this comparative analysis Because you said that NDC government once upon a time scored the perception, and I'm saying that you can't use perception.
We can use perception.
You cannot.
It gives you a view of whether the government is doing well in tackling corruption. Structures and putting laws in place is probably not enough. Yes, you have an OSP. Yes, you have an OSP, but all those things. No, but all those things are not enough.
Thank you. Jifa, I am saying that what you are saying, I can't say they are false or they are true. Your concerns may be genuine. But what I'm trying to say is that corruption perception, I'm not saying we should throw it away because it can influence decisions. But you cannot also conclude and make firm decisions and inferences out of that. Because we live in a country, me, when I was in secondary school, Opokuari, an old man went and told my mother that I smoke weed. If I have never even smoked cigarette, not even alcohol, I don't even do alcohol. The man was called, he said he saw me soliloquizing, talking to myself, and that he concluded that probably I smoke weed. And my mom, illiterate mother, was so sad. What I'm saying is that in this country, you know that there are a lot of things they said about former President Mahama, present president, all former president and politicians and other people. That I'm not saying all of them are false, but a lot of the times you go into it, they are not factual.
Okay.
People make comments, respond to research that people do when it comes to politics based on their political affiliations. So you cannot say that it is 100% to validate corruption perception and draw conclusions and inferences that somebody has done it wrong or right, unless court of competent jurisdiction. This is a fact.
Okay, so I think you've made that point.
This is a fact.
Let's try Professor Abdullahi Zoom again. Hopefully he can hear us now. Professor Abdullahi, can you hear us now, please? Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof. If you can check and unmute, if you can hear us. Hello, Prof. Okay, seems that we are still having challenges there. Let me allow Honorable Ricketts Hagan to come in. Our performance hasn't been great. Disappointed or expected?
Well, again, thank you. And my brother, I think he and I are having again, I am not afraid of you.
Oh. Honorable Hagan, just go to the point.
He just said that. I said, I've allowed you to speak. He said, because you're afraid of me. Maybe he does it jokingly, so I'm also saying to him jokingly that I'm not afraid of you.
Honorable, just go.
I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Oh, no, you said that.
That's what you said.
I'm afraid of you. So
that's what you said.
Honorable, so please go ahead. Honorable Amwa, you are such a, you are such a,
you better be
terrible MP.
I'm afraid of you.
Please go ahead, Honorable Hagan.
That is okay for you.
It's you know, in our society, corruption is endemic. Corruption is endemic in our society, and corruption is basically at all levels. I know many a times corruption issues are placed, you know, at politicians and maybe at you know, civil servants. But if you look at throughout our whole, you know, social structure, you realize that there are a whole lot of things being done at all levels that will basically, you know, it will constitute corruption. It is endemic in our society, and we need to make an effort to get, because corruption is costing us so much. Corruption is affecting our development. About $3 billion a year is basically lost through corruption. In governments of all shades, there had been issues to do with corruption. This president came into office with the promise that he was actually going to deal with corruption. He has not been seen to deal with corruption, neither has he actually dealt with it. Yes, he set up a special prosecutor, it amounted to nothing, another person has been put there. And it's rightly said, there had been a catalog of incidents, scandals, corruption issues in this government. The government is littered with all sorts of corruption. You mentioned some, the procurement issue, the PDS, the communication one, Kelvy or whatever they call them.
Galamsey.
And Galamsey issues, excavators, excavators are disappearing, a whole lot of things, and not a single person.
But isn't Honorable Amwa right that perceptions may be imagined?
Well, you see, the problem with this country and the problem with mostly sub-Saharan Africa is that unless you are actually catch someone in the act and that you are holding the evidence, they will always see it as a perception. Because, you know, there's a famous saying that if somebody is suspected to be corrupt, if you ask the president or anyone else, they are going to tell you, or they are going to ask you, where is the evidence? Every time anybody raises a corruption issue, the question becomes, where is the evidence? So it becomes difficult to prosecute people when you don't have the evidence. Also, in other parts of this world, you know, people do things, or people are even perceived to be corrupt. They resign from their position, you know, either to be investigated or to clear their name. Here, you will have to take people to the cliff and actually push them before they leave their position. So it is very difficult, you know, to prove that people are corrupt, though we know that it goes on. But then if a president comes up and say that, look, I'm going to fight corruption, he should be seen to be fighting corruption and doing it fairly. You know, he did say that
they tend to jail a lot of the opposition
and all that. Okay. At the moment, what is happening? I don't want to call names or anything.
With reference to the Opuni trial you are referring to?
Well, I'm even talking about the recent one of my own brother being taken to court, Honorable Forson.
Yes.
Clearly, we've been out of office for about 5 years. All of a sudden, in the middle of e-levy, challenging them on the e-levy and everything, they have found it necessary to take a key person in this whole thing to be sent, you know, to the courts. What for? Simply, they are not actually dealing with corruption. They are trying to intimidate the opposition. Look, when you look at the report that we are looking at, it doesn't only talk about corruption as in, you know, financial gains. It also talks about basically lack of transparent, you know, democratic practices. That this government was scored down on the practice of democracy, on fairness. You know, the country more or less has become like a, you know, kind of a dictatorship. You know, where security agencies and other people are being used to intimidate people. Yes, we are in parliament, that is where we got to practicing democracy, and then somebody calls the military and others to come inside the premises of parliament. And today, nobody has been held accountable. Do you know how close things basically got? This is what is happening in this country. Nana Akufo-Addo has no desire to deal with corruption.
To me, Nana Akufo-Addo made me arrested.
He has got so much corruption related in his government, and when you ask them, they say perception. Do you have the evidence?
All right, so hopefully let's see if we can get Professor Abdullahi. Unfortunately, we've been having challenges with his line. Professor Abdullahi, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. So first, quickly, your initial reaction to how Ghana has performed in the 2021 Perception Index.
Well, what it goes to show is that in the last 5 years, the fight against corruption, you know, has not progressed. That's why there's a stagnation. Because in, you know, 2020 and 2021, the score has been the same, 43% out of 100.
Now, you indicate that it shows that the fight against corruption hasn't progressed, but this is a government that has tried to put certain structures in place. We have the Anti-Corruption Action Plan. We also have, you know, the Office of the Special Prosecutor. we have already other institutions of state mandated to look at how to deal with public sector corruption. We have the Auditor General, who has the right of surcharge for anyone who may have misspent, misapplied, or misused monies. So what may be wrong? Is it that what's being done is not being fairly recorded?
No, Jifa, I think it's good you mention all these things. Having laws in place are good, but the enforcement is lacking. For example, when you talked about the special prosecutor, wasn't he the same person that made the accusation against the government that his office wasn't funded or well funded, and also other accusations? So that is something that most people will look at. When you talked about the Auditor General, wasn't it the fashion in which the Auditor General was removed that most people think was unfair? I think all these are things that contribute to the perception. But also, you know, you have the Public Procurement Act and the Financial Administration Act. All these laws are in place in this country, but no one enforces them. And, you know, when you don't enforce laws, then definitely, you know, you are going to have all these challenges that has to do with our governance.
Now, in terms of fighting corruption, I know there's always a lot of focus on public sector officials or government officials or high-level people in government. I'm just wondering, is that fair? Because that then adds to the perception. Isn't it probably a case of many Ghanaians are no more bothered about corruption? People think that
it's not only the senior level persons that are accountable, but if you go to any office, any public sector organization in this country, services that you're supposed to get for free, you have to pay a bribe. So these incidences of corruption, you know, is always noted when there's no accountability, but it starts from the top. But also, Jifa, it's not only the public sector. We Ghanaians as a whole should also be held accountable. Our patrimonial culture, whereby you are in a high position, your relative needs a job, definitely you find a way to get the person the job. And lately there have been complaints about, you know, the employment of people into the security system, whereby mostly it's through protocol. So all these create that perception. So it's not only the high-level corruption, but there's also, you know, I call them street-level bureaucrats who are also contributing to that. And then, of course, our own culture.
So Professor Abdullahi, I'm just wondering, maybe the perception index, we're not doing well or haven't done well on it over the last 5 years, maybe because Ghanaians as a whole are not making the effort to also deal with corruption. It's not just about maybe government officials or public officials. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, if we want to look at the current administration and some of the issues that had been raised, how, for instance, it dealt with the Galamsey issues relating to the excavators or Aisha Juan's repatriation or the Ejapa royalties deal, the leaking of 12 billion from the Auditor General's reports and all that. Would you say those things are the reasons why we have the perception stagnated over the last 5 years, or this is really just about all of us?
No, that is the major part. But then the other part, the other blame should be assigned to Ghanaians. If Ghanaians wouldn't accept corruption and then encourage corruption and don't give bribes, then we're going to do well. But let me make one point. During Kufuor's government, we had one of the highest rating, right? And that is an MPP government. But if you look at Akufo-Addo's government, even compared to Mahamat's administration, Mahamat's lowest is Akufo-Addo's highest, which is 43. So it has to do with the leadership, because Kufuor did very well. He had about 81%. And that is one of the reasons why I'm saying that leadership is important in the fight.
Unfortunately,
and top people fighting against corruption. And then
all right, so we'll just try and correct the feed there with Professor Abdullahi. But let's come back to studio. Yes, so Dr. Amoah, so you say perception, but the truth is, and you have not addressed the examples that I have raised.
Which example?
I raised the example of the Galamsey issues. No one has been prosecuted for the excavator issues. Aisha Juan was dispatched easily. The view is that because there were powerful government people or politically exposed people aligned with your government, that is why. The Auditor General, I mean, all these things do not give a good impression.
About Auditor General thing is, I don't want to speak and it will become like I'm personalizing it, so I'm very careful dealing with individuals. Don't let us behave like Auditor General is perfect.
Certainly
or was
not.
perfect. I can't say I'm not perfect. I can never say he's not somebody who wasn't efficient. I can't say that. But the fact that somebody is efficient or not efficient does not mean that a person cannot make mistakes or commit offenses that probably he could have been dealt with by the legal procedures or control systems. I even had an issue under his tenure. Maybe it wasn't his fault. Maybe. I was CEO for Maslok. You see, sometimes maybe some subordinates or the institution's actions and inactions also warrant the expectation or suspicion that somebody is using his outfit politically. I'm not saying he was doing that, but I'm saying that occurrences, that's why I'm choosing my words very well, or events or incidents. They wanted to come and audit Maslok. Listen carefully. Maslok, before you can audit Maslok, you should come through Office of Government Machinery. We were there, instead of even before they came and did the open conference, some audit staff from here had gone to some of the regional offices, which was not supposed to be that anywhere, even legally or whatever. I even said, I'm ready to audit because I know that you won't get me. You can only create trouble where you're not. Then I was advised by my board that once it's not right, we should be careful because audit, if somebody will create issues for you, he can go and pick something which is not even anything and then highlight on it. So we should write to them to seek that thing from
Office of Government Machinery.
Yeah, exactly, so that they allow me. Madam, we sent the letter 2 hours time, it was in the public domain, that, I'm running to be audited. So there are other issues that we all should be careful. What I'm saying is, the issues you raise, they are very legitimate. I cannot be here and speak that, they were supposed to be prosecuted and they left them before God, not I'm lying. Maybe I'm not privy to a lot of things, or I'm privy to.
Okay, so the
but
question
what I'm saying
is,
once they have not been convicted by courts of competent jurisdiction, still it remains a controversial issue with different opinions. You cannot conclude that they've done wrong.
I agree with you that until something is prosecuted, a decision is made by a court of competent jurisdiction. But the criticism of the current administration is that path is not even being set.
Which path?
The path to go to court.
So
yet you have hauled opposition people to court. So the question is, the government has hauled opposition people to court. So the question is, where is the fairness?
What is fairness? I know I'm not a lawyer, but I think they established, is there something called
prima facie case?
Whether, exactly. So right now, if I said that, Jifa slapped me, it could even be possible that the video will show you are slapping you, I'm slapping you. You know how procedural things are legally. You cannot just wake up and say that because people are right. Look, when people put in the public domain that I had imported second-hand cars, when that I had not imported in 2 cars. I have not even gotten money from government. They did with pictures, have stolen 28 million. Madam, these were all, in fact, they are 100% lies. God is my witness. Okay, but they do all, so sometimes even the speculations, we should all be there. I'm not saying I don't agree to what you're saying. And those things that you have listed, I am MPP MP. Trust me, I'll go into it. I'll go and look for documents. And if there's something like that, I will support your statement. But not until these things are done. So take me to it. I'll go and look for information from all stakeholders, including those involved, and even the government, whatever. Then give me some time. I'll come back to you and say that, Jifa, what you're saying, 100% or not. But not until court of competent jurisdiction, because they also have their case to be cross-examined. They have their cases to also defend. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I personally thought, the Auditor General issue, because I interacted with him once, and I saw he was very efficient, that man. In spite of the problems I had with the whole institution, my place, I can't blame him. Others might have had information that I didn't have. So what I'm saying is that this corruption perception, they are doing well. Those who are doing corruption perception, they are doing well. It's not an easy job. And they've done well, and they don't do it only under MPP. It's gone through. So I say kudos, they've done well. But as a country, we cannot validate completely and draw inferences and say that perception, because it's perception, it is true. No.
So you dispute that the current administration, if you look at the figures, and Professor Abdullahi told us that even from President Kufuor's time, he had very high scores. Mahama's scores were up and down. His worst, the Mahama administration's worst score is the current Akufo-Addo government's best score.
Based
and
on
remains
what? Based on what?
Based on the criteria. So are you saying that that doesn't matter at all?
Oh, have I said it doesn't matter?
No, I'm just asking.
But I never said that. I'm saying that as much as we cannot throw that away, you cannot also validate because you have lost. Right now, can we base on just recession and then punish you? Can we do that? Ask the legal practitioners. One is not guilty till proven guilty by court of competent jurisdiction. It could even be that Kufuor's time, sorry, it could even be worse than the perception we had. It could be less. Former President Mahama time, it could even be less than the perception we had. And another time, it could be less or more. What I'm making reference to is that we should also contextualize perception in Ghana, the kind of people we are. Because you put up questions, you interact with people, you collect primary data and secondary data. And most of the times, look, country that you have geographical voting in terms of resource, based on ethnicity and other things, based on political interest, all the time, about 80% of people who give out responses will be influenced by the political fraternity they support. So I'm saying that perception, yes, we cannot throw that away, but not until court of competent jurisdiction has jailed somebody. I will not validate, but I will also not throw away perception.
All right, thank you very much, Dr.
This is a very fair statement.
Let me take a quick break, and then I'll come back to Honorable Ricketts Hagan and Professor Abdullahi.
Sometimes you just know that something ain't going good. You say to yourself, this ain't working for me. There be no shame in that, man.
Like when you don't got it?
Yeah, man, I mean, being smart means knowing when to stop. Know your limit.
So like knowing when to stop? Yeah, makes sense.
If it's not fun, choose to stop.
This advertisement is brought to you by Bet Power.
Glovo is the app that brings you anything you want. Like a good burger and ending the day in a big way. Or what you need from the supermarket right away. Even some diapers and escape any wahala. Download the app, order a Glovo and we'll deliver.
In uncertain times, it can be hard to imagine yourself completing the CIMA professional qualification. But with our new digital-first learning and assessment platform, you can. The CGMA Finance Leadership Programme, or FLP, gives you control over your study progress. The CGMA FLP is a remote-based, self-paced learning platform that lets you qualify from home with online assessments and study support. Start from where you are in your CIMA studies. Unlike the traditional programme, you don't have to go to classes in person. All assessments and case study exam preparations take place within the comprehensive online CGMA FLP platform. Choose from 1, 2 or 3-year subscription options. Contact us to enrol or learn more about the CGMA FLP today.
Season 12 brought you varying art with serious agility. You sang along. Danced.
Okay, I believe me, Brother Mike, that you say the boss.
And cheered.
I love
Talented Kids Season 13 promises to turn up a notch. The stage offers endless opportunities, molding talent and making dreams a reality. We are back again with 16 amazing talents to take you on a ride for this season. Don't miss the grand launch on January 30 and the weekly shows every Sunday. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids Grand Launch this Sunday 3 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it. Talented Kids is powered by Indomie and brought to you by Puma Drinks, Deluxe Acrylic Paint.
All right, so we're still here. We have a few minutes to go. Let's hear from Honorable Ricketts Hagan, then I'll take final points from Professor Abdullahi, and the final word will go to Dr. Amoah. Yes, Honorable Hagan.
Yeah, I like the idea, Doc, is, staying with this...
the perception.
The perception,
that we should not base or judge people based on perception.
Yeah. Yes.
But we should also throw it away.
But the point of the matter is that as a society, we are not doing enough in fighting corruption.
Perfect.
And as I said, corruption is endemic in our society.
Perfect.
From the bottom up. Perfect. Most of the time you look at and say politicians.
But a lot of the time the focus is on high-level government officials.
Well, is
that unfair?
There are a lot of things that we all do. Trying to get your child fixed in a school that he or she did not qualify to go. And so many things that we do are, corruption. But we have done certain things over and over that we don't even see them to be a corrupt act because it's become a norm. When somebody is doing something for you and you take money from an envelope or whatever and give it to that person, it looks like normal. That's what, But basically, you are corrupting somebody from doing their work. If somebody, after doing something for you and you feel like going to say thank you to the person, but the moment you put an envelope on the person's table, once something of yours is in front of that person, you are basically trying to influence that person. But I'm saying it starts from the top.
Okay, but will things ever improve? Because I also get a sense that there is a certain fatigue.
Like Professor said, it's got to start with the leadership. If we are actually showing signs up there by His Excellency the President and the government that they are ready to fight corruption and they mean it to fight it, wherever that corruption is coming from, whether it's coming from the government. I mean, I'm not saying that if when we were in office, I had done something wrong and the government finds out, I should not be prosecuted. But you look at the timing of when certain things are done, and you realize that this was not just done because they found, but it was done for a reason. So itself becomes a corruption on itself.
Because corruption is not always about taking money.
It's not always about taking money, but trying to do
abuse
certain
of power,
abuse of power and all that
influence
corruption.
peddling.
As I said in the report, if you read the actual report, I mean, there are indices that these guys, that Transparency International, use in coming up with this. It is not just plucked from the air. So they are standing on something to do this aggregation and come with these numbers, which they've been doing for years, and they'll do it for many countries and basically, rank or rate them. So we should be taking these things serious, perception or not, and work towards cleaning this country from the excessive corruption which is basically affecting our development everywhere, in central government, in assemblies, in wherever you look, in the private sector.
I agree with you.
The society has become so endemic with corruption that we are losing so much money, not only at government level but across. People are not being honest. It's not, as you said, right? It's not just about money, But there's so many people that, people are cheating people out. These are all corruption. Somebody sells you a land and goes and sells the same land. Somebody sells a land to you and go and sell the same land to somebody else and creates a whole lot of problems and all that. These are all corrupt practices. And we need to look at that. But when you get a president who tells us.
So what do you want to tell the president and the government? This will be like your final comment.
What I want to tell the president, that he should not only be seen to be fighting corruption, but he should actually mean it and fight it. And it doesn't matter where it's coming from. Whether it's in the opposition or it's in government, the government must be seen. Not just say that somebody has done something, oh, we've done investigation at Jubilee House or Flagstaff House, and then the person is cleared. They should go through due process. If they need to be prosecuted, the Attorney General should not stop there. Because look, Attorney General may choose to investigate something or not. They may have the facts and decide not to bring it out, or they may not have it. We should see some fairness in trying to deal with issues of corruption, because it's snowballing, and a time will come that corruption will consume all of us. That's where we need to be careful.
All right. Final point, Professor Abdullahi.
Yes. Well, first, I would like to say that if you look at Singapore during the time of Lee Kuan Yew, the country was very corrupt, and through leadership, it brought down corruption. If you look at Mauritius, the prime minister, a lady who used the credit card of a private company foundation she was on, was forced to resign. Now, if we really want to fight corruption in this country, first of all, we must enforce our laws, which is the Procurement Act, the Financial Administration Act, the Whistleblower Act. All these should work. But also there should be strict declaration of assets before one takes over, goes into power, during the course they were in power, and after. And above all, we should educate our people that corruption actually affects the economy, affects all of us. Jifa, even though it's a perception, whatever you want to point to it, if I'm an investor and I know that your country is perceived as corrupt, am I going to come and invest in your country? Sure. If I don't invest in your country, then you have problems with unemployment, with growth of your economy. Apart from that, it is going to be difficult for even local investors to invest in their own country. They will put their money elsewhere because they are not for the Christmas.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Abdullahi. Final point to you, Dr. Amoah. People are concerned about corruption because if we are losing all this money, then they don't want to pay e-levy.
You know what?
And so that is a concern that people have.
I agree 100% with Professor. And that's why I said that we can't throw away perception index. That what they've done, I respect. I mean,
no, but you are not addressing the issue I raised. The monies we are leaking.
But you just said it. There are issues that have been said. The time is short. I'll come to it. But what I said was, it can influence decision making, and that's why he's listing them. And I agree with him 100%. It can, and that's why we should also be careful that this perception will be said that about 90% of the time it should be true, because some of the perceptions are entirely false. Some are also possibly true. And my brother MP here also says something which is also 100% true. We are limiting corruption to only NDC and PP. But can we say the police? That doesn't mean all policemen. No, I can't say that. There are good ones and bad ones. Even NDC and PP, there are good ones and bad ones. Let me give you my story. Recently, you heard that police had arrested me. And they said also that I can tell you, it's in court, so I won't speak. But 90% of what they said was not true.
The police.
I'm telling you, you will come public. Even when they said I had been asked to come to court.
It was your car that was arrested.
I'm coming, please. I'm explaining. You don't want to listen to me.
I'm
not saying it's not my car.
The case is in court.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that you are not even listening to the facts.
Listening.
When they said I had not come to court and that they had issued bench warrant, they knew it was not true. They had to go back to the court to plead with the court to rescind that thing. Did they come back to tell Ghanaians it was not true? You will hear subsequently. I'm not saying I had done wrong or not, but I'm saying that things in the public domain that give people perception, we should look at that carefully, because corruption is a very big issue. As you said, some people don't want to even pay tax because they think we are abusing their funds, which is true. Sometimes perception is influencing their decision not to also pay. You're talking about, look, Switzerland. I'm working with a professor on a project, okay? He said that 20 years ago, somebody, government official, used something to buy sneaker, toffee, sweets. That's the only corruption case they've had. Why? Prof says something nice. Enforcement of even the anti-corruption tools, we are not doing that well. Whether PPNDC, they are there. But the issue is, or those in charge of these institutions, they are also not helping Mahama and Anano. If you ask your houseboy to take care of your things and he's a thief, what will happen? So, as Prof is saying, all of us talking about corruption, most of us are directly or indirectly involved. So we should change our mindset, our attitude. Other than that, this country, access declaration, our system is said that it's very difficult. Don't let us lie.
Will you, the MPs, change
I'm coming. Do you know why? Me, I've been doing farm. If you go to Kwai West, I have the largest palm plantation. I produce palm oil. I did mixed cropping. Most of my revenues, I'm going to be honest with you, the way you are paid in our system, it's even very difficult to sometimes substantiate the things we've done. So the whole system we need to have new paradigm shift that will redefine our corporate focus. Other than that, you buy a car, you never store. But it will be very, very difficult the way our culture is to even substantiate how you bought your car. So all these things, we have to look into them, define the parameters well, so that when I'm found guilty or otherwise, it will be based on facts and we will have the materiality that we need. Other than that, every day somebody will be jailed.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've taken a gift to buy something before. I've taken a gift to buy something before. How do you sometimes say that entire Ghanaians, how can you give me this gift and I bought? They will not even believe you.
All right, thank you very
much.
So our system
should also be re-looked before some of these foreign policies and frameworks adopted and used here. Because look, if you buy even cassava,
thank you very much, cassava, but we have to end.
No, if you buy cassava, they didn't receive.
No, can I just say something important that Prof said?
Thank you very much, Dr. Amwa. Yes, quick one, Honorable Hagan.
One of the things that Prof said that is very important.
Yeah, he said a lot
with this perception thing is about the development of the country and investment into the country. If people perceive us to be corrupt, if people perceive Ghana to be a difficult place to do business, then we are not going to get the necessary, FDIs that should come into the country.
So people should stop putting falsehood also into the public domain to drive perception. Well, it's also very dangerous.
Yeah, but
they will cut bits and pieces, put together, and say that Stika is saying, Dr. Hagan is saying this, defies, and then people will believe the lies.
Well,
yes,
we should also look at
that.
Perception issues should be addressed. It is perception that we are sitting here today on e-levy because there's a perception that government is not using our money well.
Yeah,
so we need to work.
Do your constituents support e-levy, Honorable
Amwa? I've explained to. I can't say all, but I was in Kumasi for about 2 days to educate the public why we think is important, and the responses were very good. But I can't give scientific or statistical figure and say, 90%. I won't come.
Okay, so at least you say a lot of them support. Honorable Ricky Sega, you said your constituents they don't support it.
People should send you around the country to educate.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. And that's how we bring our show to an end. It's been very hot. Many thanks to our guest, the Honorable Dr. Stephen Amwa, to the Honorable George Ricketts Hagan, and to Professor David Abdullahi. I'm Jifa Bampo. Thanks for all your messages. Sorry you couldn't read all of them today, but join us again next week for another hot, interesting edition. Up next is Warm Up Plus.